God of War Ragnarok is adding a rogue mode in their free Valhalla DLC, and it really made me ask the question, why another rogue mode? When we're looking across the industry, it seems to be becoming a very common practice to take a rogue-like mode and add it to an existing game. So I want to look at the number of games that have done it, maybe make some recommendations if you didn't know many games have done this, but I also want to look at the fact that it seems that PlayStation may be leaning into this with more than just God of War. Beyond that, I want to look at the reaction to this. What are people saying? Are they excited? I myself have really changed my opinion about rogue modes or roguelike games, and it really did take a complete run-through of Returnal to see things differently. Also, VR games are a perfect fit for roguelike games as well. I want to get my thoughts on this growing trend before diving into gameplay this afternoon when it goes live. So if you are looking for gameplay of God of War Ragnarok Valhalla, be sure to check that out. It'll be on this channel. It'll be a separate stream. It doesn't go live until noon Eastern. Now, I put all of the good information right here at the beginning of the video, so you don't have to go looking for it. I sort of open up the day and the stream with a monologue. It is a live environment, so that's why this video is a little bit longer. God of War Ragnarok joins the ranks of games adding rogue modes to their games. In the free DLC called Valhalla, Santa Monica invites gamers to what they are calling, quote, an epilogue to the events of God of War Ragnarok that follows Kratos on a deeply personal and reflective journey. So I want to quickly look at the details of this content, but I also want to consider the industry at large. What do people think of this trend? What do people think of these types of modes and these types of games? And will this be influencing future single-player games as well as their DLC? So first, let's just look at the details. The brief intro description on the PlayStation blog says the following. Said after the decisive battle against Odin and Atreus' departure, Kratos has been on a path for himself that he never thought possible before. Brought to the mysterious shores of Valhalla, accompanied only by Mimir, Kratos will enter its unknown depths to overcome trials within himself and face echoes of the past. They go on to say that God of War Ragnarok Valhalla celebrates the combat you know and love from God of War Ragnarok and blends it with fresh, experimental elements inspired by the Rogue-lite genre. Each attempt in Valhalla will encourage you to master different aspects of Kratos' arsenal as you face new combinations of enemies and some surprises along the way. Now, so if you're not familiar with this kind of a format, right, like each time you die, you start over, you'll be back outside, but it's not over completely, right? You can run it again and you can get permanent upgrades. They say the following: the more you overcome, the more resources you'll gain that can be put towards permanent upgrades that affect both Kratos and even Valhalla itself. Accumulating rewards and knowledge during your attempts will help you get ever closer to discovering the mysteries that await Kratos within. Now, this is pretty typical of a rogue, so if you are unfamiliar with them, they basically bake in progress so that every run doesn't feel completely futile. You might make a weapon stronger, or maybe you get enough currency to buy something that makes you stronger, a weapon better, or something that's always with you, some sort of a trait or ability. Now, you get rid of your armor in this, they say, and your weapons, but you will bring the weapons and the skill trees with you. So you're not going to have like all of your investments and all of your customization, but weapons and skill trees will accompany you here. Now, Kratos must cast off his armor, they say, and equipment, but instead build towards both per attempt and permanent rewards. Kratos will have access to all of his weapons and fully upgraded skill trees at all times, but must commit to a shield and Path of Spartan Rage for each attempt. So they are stripping you down, but they're also giving you a lot to start with. You can get things as you play as well. They say as you overcome the trials of Valhalla and explore its depths, you'll make choices between temporary glyphs for which stats to upgrade, which perks to select, which runic attacks to wield, and more. They're also making armor cosmetic only, so you can customize your look. You can look however you want. You don't have to worry about stats or transmog. Interestingly enough, and something you don't often see in a rogue mode or in a rogue game, there are difficulty settings. This is what they have to say about that. God of War Ragnarok Valhalla has 5 difficulty settings that have been specially crafted and tuned to the unique gameplay of the DLC. Each difficulty setting increases the rewards you'll gain from battle, and you can swap freely among them between attempts, including to and from the highest difficulty setting, Show Me Mastery. So they do encourage turning up the difficulty. The stronger or the better you get, the more that you play it. They have also set it up to be something that you can engage with at any time. You do not need to make sure that you have all the upgrades or certain elements of the game beaten. They conclude the blog post by saying that this is free, and they thank to, all the fans. So who else has done this is actually a question, because you might be thinking, oh wow, adding a rogue mode to a game, that's pretty smart. Well, funny enough, and coincidentally enough, I'm not the first person to make this observation. Assassin's Creed Valhalla has already done something like this. Now, it was called Forgotten Saga, but it was a little coincidental to look at this and kind of laugh, right? Assassin's Creed Valhalla had a DLC called Ragnarok, and now God of War Ragnarok has a DLC named Valhalla. There's only so many cool names within the mythology to use, and so that observation, I think a lot of people made. It's kind of funny. But again, if you want to play the rogue mode in AC Valhalla, it is called the Forgotten Saga. You do have to be a certain level and a certain amount of progression in the game before you can turn that on. You have to invest in some of like the housing in AC Valhalla. I myself never got to try that out. I really wanted to. We got stalled out. I had to do a bunch of work in the game because that was one of the few games that I just never really found time for. It was too stout. It was too big. Origins is my favorite, but both Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Valhalla, they were just a little bit too big for my play times and my sessions that I have available. But we've also seen other games like Mortal Shell do this. They added a rogue mode in what they called the Virtuous Cycle DLC. Prey did this with something called Moon Crash, the Moon Crash DLC. Hitman recently added something called Freelancer mode, and this is when they renamed Hitman 3 to the Hitman World of Assassination. So there is essentially a rogue mode in there. It's their Freelancer mode. Inscription was a pretty popular game. Definitely check that one out. I've been wanting to check it out myself. I've heard nothing but good things. They added something called Casey's Mod after it was in beta for a while, and it is a rogue mode or an endless mode for the popular and highly praised deck building game Inscription. The Division 2 added their own rogue mode recently called Descent, and before God of War Ragnarok even announced their Valhalla DLC, The Last of Us Part 2 Remaster announced that it would be coming with what they described as a roguelike survival mode called No Return. Now, we never covered that rogue mode or the remaster, but the trailer for that rogue dropped right before Grand Theft Auto 6 basically was forced to drop their trailer. I think Naughty Dog and PlayStation were like, hey, let's get this trailer out ahead of time. Tomorrow morning is supposed to be Grand Theft Auto 6. But then, if you remember, Grand Theft Auto 6 smacked down the leaker and then sort of published their trailer early. So it completely overshadowed that. Go check that trailer out. But that's another game adding a rogue mode to itself. So I actually am looking forward to this. Okay, the point is, though, if lots of games are doing this, are gamers supporting it? Do gamers want to see this happen? Do they like it? So let's talk about what the reaction has been. Now, the trailer was awesome, okay? I know that it was short. It was awesome for a handful of reasons. Number one, everyone's sitting here thinking, what is this? What is this? What is this? And I was like, I don't know. I was like, it kind of feels like, and then Kratos walks into frame. So everybody cheers, everybody gets excited. He's pretty iconic. And he brings a lot to the table, okay? Maybe not so much jokes about Call of Duty, because soft developers don't want to hear jokes about their incredibly short game, but Kratos brings a lot to the table. And I think, for starters, God of War seems sort of immune to some of the knee-jerk criticism and the complaints that we commonly see about The Last of Us. I could not really find any negativity or criticism about this mode coming to God of War Ragnarok. Everybody basically said, how can anybody be negative or critical? It's free, right? I even asked on Twitter, I was like, hey, is anybody being critical? What's the general consensus about this mode? I saw folks taking a similar line of thinking that I initially had. I saw people saying, hey, do more of this. We want to see more games do this. I've had some good exchanges and back and forth on Twitter with somebody by the name of E4 Extreme. You want to check him out? And he said something that really resonated with me. And this is what he said. He said, Returnal opened the eyes of many to roguelikes, as did Hades, of course. I love both of those games. Thus, I love seeing more of this style spread out across PlayStation property. More games should do it. Imagine a Halo or a Gears roguelike. That'd be fire. Now, the first part especially really resonated with me because Returnal was my game of the year when it came out, and it took me a while to warm up that strongly to it. Like, I liked the game, don't get me wrong. I was like, yeah, Returnal's a fantastic game, but it wasn't until I did one complete run through that it changed my perspective, not just on Returnal, but on rogues in general. The investment paths just sort of start to click. It just sort of starts to make sense. Also, another thing that changed my mind, I've been sort of on a journey of enjoying rogue modes more. VR games. Synapse on PSVR 2 and Gazlers on PSVR 2 specifically are two games that are really fun. They're really fun rogue modes, and I think it just works perfectly for a VR. Another rogue mode recently, rogue game that really convinced me that they can be a lot of fun is a game called RoboQuest. It's currently on Game Pass. You can play it 2-player co-op. It's a blast. It's so much fun. Great weapon diversity, really good combat, very, very satisfying. And in the vein of my feedback, I saw a lot of people saying about this announcement from Santa Monica. They were like, well, this is basically a shadow drop. I think if you combine this with the fact that folks are saying, hey, more games should do this, I think you have a winning combination. Let devs have fun. Let them create their own modes, their own modifiers, and then just drop them as surprises or good marketing pushes. They could really make, I think, great runways for new content or bigger paid-for DLC drops. Basically, what you would do is you would make the rogue mode free, shadow drop it. I mean, this has a 5-day window from the announcement to the release. So, for all intents and purposes, it feels like a shadow drop, right? And then you could have new content in the future that you could then charge money for. You could have sort of story elements baked in. I'm hoping there's maybe even story elements baked into this Valhalla DLC for Ragnarok. So that's basically the reaction I saw out there. I looked to see if anybody was being negative, and it just didn't really seem like anybody was. So what are my thoughts on this, okay? First, I loved the saying, and this came up in a member stream from a community member here named Zubair, and I thought this was very, very good. He called this bite-sized gaming, and I think this is why it works so well for VR. Sometimes I just want to have like a small gaming session in VR. I don't want to play for a super long tail game or something that I have to, keep coming back to, because VR is pretty demanding. You got to set aside space. It can give you a little bit of a woozy feeling if you're susceptible to some of the motion sickness. So you kind of have to be in the mood, but also not want. I just don't want to play a VR game for 3 or 4 hours, and I have shorter play sessions available anyway. I can usually only play a game for about an hour. So when you get better and faster at the earlier levels in games like Synapse, it really just feels good. I was really enjoying the feel and the vibe of Synapse. One complete run through in that game felt amazing, and then you start getting upgrades, and you go back in, and you're stronger, and you can do more things, right? And it just really gives you a sense of progress, even though rogues can make people feel like there is no progress, right? Because if you die, you have to start over. So that's the first thing I want to say is I'm really excited about this because I have really come around and come to appreciate games and game modes like this. So I'm saying, listen, do more of this. That's the second thing I want to say. I would love to see more games do this. There's a game right now called Witchfire, and I think everybody should check this game out. Everybody should keep their eyes on Witchfire. It sadly is in early access only in the Epic Store, so a lot of people haven't paid much attention to it, which is just a shame. I hope going exclusive with the Epic Store is helping them pay their bills and helping them, build an amazing game, because I tried it in one afternoon and I loved it. Okay, it has so much potential. It has the shooting and the feeling of like a Destiny, but you get cool abilities and guns, and the combat's very satisfying. You can very quickly have great combinations and really great perks. It does have a very steep curve at the beginning. Now they might smooth that out from player feedback. I mean, it's really hard right off jump. Like, it takes a minute before you can actually get beyond some of the starting areas. But imagine games where you have abilities and deep skill trees or a deep weapon or loot pool and just throw together random combinations of those things. You can really, I think, make somebody crazy strong. You can really ramp up the power of the player and then do the same for the enemies. I saw so many games thrown out with suggestions to do this thing. The other thing I thought when I was looking at this announcement and this gameplay and the blog details, it's such a great way to extend the value and the life of a single-player game. The whole one-and-done complaint dies pretty quickly when you have things like New Game Plus, DLC, free endless modes, and rogue content. Now, I do need to walk back something I initially said about my observation of this. When this trailer debuted and we got the details of it being a rogue mode getting added to God of War Ragnarok, at first I thought, wow, Sony's really pushing for more roguelike modes in their games, because this is right after the Last of Us 2 Remaster announcement, and then we get this shadow drop free DLC rogue game mode in God of War Ragnarok. Now, at the time I made the observation, I said, maybe Returnal is having an effect on the platform. Maybe Returnal is having an effect on other studios. The Tower of Sisyphus is its own sort of condensed down version of Returnal for somebody who maybe doesn't want to do a full run attempt. Maybe just feel like playing Returnal. You've done your daily challenges. Tower of Sisyphus is a little bit more bite-sized of a game that already kind of is supposed to be bite-sized because it is a rogue in and of itself. But the truth is, this trend seems far bigger than PlayStation, and it seems far bigger than Returnal. It does seem, however, that PlayStation's tapping into the growing trend within gaming. There were so many games I listed at the beginning of this. I think this is continuing to grow, and it seems like Sony's saying, hey, why don't we do the same thing? And I fully support that. Even Ghost of Tsushima surprised folks with the free Legends mode when they dropped it in 2020. Now, that's not a rogue mode, but I fully support single-player games getting extra modes or multiplayer modes or roguelike modes where they just add them for free and it can extend the life of the game. Extending the life and the value of a single-player game, I believe, is a worthy endeavor, especially after how great 2023 has been with respect to single-player games. At a time when everyone feared that all games would go live service or multiplayer would be what every game focuses on, or that games would be riddled with battle passes and microtransactions, single-player games continue to be the light in the desert. And I hope we continue to see this trend, but I want to know what you think. So let me give you my thoughts and my final conclusion on this. For a long time, I've not really been a fan of rogues or roguelike games. I was always very critical of them. I would see an amazing sort of platformer and I would be like, oh my gosh, I hope it's not a rogue. And the first game that sort of gave me this feeling was Dead Cells. I know, you're all going to say Dead Cells is amazing, but when I watched and I looked at Dead Cells gameplay and then I learned it was a rogue, the reason I was disappointed is, at the time, I was just fully in love with and addicted to Metroidvanias. And I still am. They're some of my favorite games. Both Ori games and Hollow Knight are fantastic. And sort of the beginning of my journey into Rogue-lite games was a game called Sundered by Thunder Lotus. I highly recommend this game to people. It's hand-drawn. The animations are phenomenal. It's a wonderful platformer, Metroidvania. It does have very, very minor Rogue-lite mechanics. Very minor. And that was one of the first games where I was like, okay, this isn't so bad. It's not really resetting me, okay? But then Returnal was the turning point for me. And I still don't actively seek out rogue games. And I know I probably should. I know people are going to be running to the comments to be like, I can't believe you don't like rogues, or, Hades is amazing. Listen, I know Hades is amazing. I've played it. I love it. I think the artistry and the voice acting in that game is superb. And I think Hades 2 will likely be very successful. It's one of the more highly anticipated games. And I think, given my limited time available now, when I go to sit down to play a game session, and I'm like, I have 45 minutes to an hour, and I sort of chisel away at games. That's how I, got through Spiderman 2 and Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty, and that's how I'm working through Avatar right now. Rogue games might get more rotated into my play sessions. They just sort of fit with where I am in life, right? They can be a little frustrating, though. You got a really good run going, and then it sort of can go sour and sort of turn on you very quickly, but that's part of their potency. That's part of what makes them so compelling. You cannot create the psychological state that a person is in when they know at any moment I can lose everything. Like, that creates moments in Returnal that you can't replicate if you can just try again, if you just have a checkpoint or a save point. That's something I think a lot of people miss, is the emotional and psychological impact that a rogue can have on you, and why that creates a deeper sense of satisfaction, which is more than likely why, when I had a full and complete run through of Returnal, everything clicked and lined up. I was like, I get it now. I understand why people love these types of games, and I also think Returnal is one of the greatest games ever made, from the artistry to the soundtrack to the story to the gameplay. Truly an ambitious and original game. Everybody should check that one out. So the second thing I want to say is, I booted up God of War Ragnarok last night to brush up on my skills. And the Crucible challenges were a great way to sort of get back into the swing of things. I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot how to do all this stuff, right? I'm just like hulking around and not doing anything with any finesse. And, you know, by the end of the play session, I was feeling pretty good. And it honestly got me even more excited to jump into God of War Ragnarok Valhalla, especially if they drop some story hints or anything about Kratos' future into this mode. I'm imagining there might be some stuff in there. So my conclusion is this: I would not be surprised if we see more studios do this than we already have. A lot of the times, the combat teams behind a game, they have to shelve certain things, right? Maybe it's too crazy, maybe it's too strong or powerful. Rogue modes are a great way to take a game to a place where you might not in the regular playthrough of the game. Like, there's just not a space to make the player or the enemies so insanely strong, right? You can take the game and the player kind of to the edge of insanity, and it's not really affecting the game or the lore or the story, because you're just in this other place. You're in this other arena, as it were. So for now, we're going to have to wait and see if Valhalla is a hit, if all the different things and combinations and weapons and all the different runic abilities and things that Kratos can do, will that work, for a rogue mode? And the other thing to think about is, is Sony Studios or PlayStation Studios, are they going to decide to take a page out of this book and continue going back and revisiting old games, or even in the future, adding these to their single-player games? I, for one, am excited if the trend grows, but hey, that's just what I think. Now I want to hear what you think. So let's turn to the live audience. That is the show open. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome in to another episode of Input Delay, a talk show here on Reforge Gaming. I'm your host, Lono, and we like to cover topics as they sort of come out, but this one obviously didn't feel like we could avoid it. It comes out today. It comes out in just a couple of hours, and we'll be diving in. That'll be a separate gameplay session. So if you made it this far in the video, smash that like button. If you're here in the live audience, smash that like button, hit subscribe so you can talk in my chat, and make sure and check out that second stream this afternoon if you're around for it, or if you're watching this later, you can check the past broadcast, see what I thought, see how it went. Is the gameplay good? Did I enjoy myself? All of the things. I, for one, was sort of surprised at I got kind of back on the horse pretty quickly last night. The first little bit, I was kind of glad. I was like, man, I'm glad I decided to do this. I would have been really rusty jumping in. I'm assuming the game will kind of ease you in anyways. So during the show open, Daniel Braun renewed their membership, and it's a VIP. Reaper hits 18 months of memberships. Thank you so much for doing that. And Wired Rope wastes no time. He drops a 5-bomb on the chat. He beats DK Bager. Han shot first, and so did you. Thank you so much, Wired Rope, for the first gifted members of the day. And then DK Bager comes in with a single. Let me get that on the so you guys can see the goal here. That's 6 members already on the day. This Friday night is the return of Hilly Hijinks. If you haven't seen me and my man Hilly play on a Friday night, it is hysterical. Get your members up to date. Jump in as a brand new member, or be here as often as you can. Hit like, chat, hit subscribe, do all the things. You might get a gifted member. And Friday night will be the return of Hilly Hijinks. If you guys can get us to 2,500 members before this Friday night, we will turn it into a community game night, and you'll be able to play alongside Hilly and I. We'll be playing Fortnite, the Lego. It's so much fun. It's a blast. I'm sure it'll be chaos, and you're going to want to join us for that this Friday. Joker Quinn with another gifted member as well, and gets us to 7 members on the day. Thank you so much, Joker Quinn. Screw the haters. Also, E3 Omega Lol. What did E3 announce? After more than 2 decades of E3, each one bigger than the last, it's time to say goodbye. Thanks for the memories. I mean, why nobody should be shocked by that. We knew that was coming. Good morning, feed. I see you in the chat. So I want to know, I listed a lot of games that have added rogue modes to their games. And I want to know a handful of things from you guys, from the audience. Number one, have you checked them out? Do you think they're good? Are they fun, right? We've got AC Valhalla's Forgotten Saga. You got Mortal Shell's Virtuous Cycle. You got Prey's Moon Crash, Inscription's Casey's mod, Division 2 Descent, Last of Us 2 Remaster with their, I forget the name of that one. Is it No Return? And then I even kind of throw the Tower of Sisyphus in there. I feel like that was them sort of condensing down Returnal into a more bite-sized, into a more bite-sized into a more bite-sized consumable piece of Returnal. Like, not everybody's trying to do a full run, if that makes sense. More and more, I think that these are just perfect. I think these are perfect for, bite-sized gaming sessions. And I remember wanting to play Moon Crash in Prey. I remember looking at Prey Moon Crash and being like, dude, I really, really want to try that out. I just never got a chance to. And I actually really liked the Prey gameplay. I thought it was good. I thought it was enjoyable. They're wanting me to sign up for a YouTube study session. These are so early in the morning. What's this one? 8 a.m. on a what? I can't zoom out now. On a Friday. I might be able to rush back and do that this Friday. I guess I could sign up for that one. They like you to do these research things because they want to try out new things, and so I've been doing that periodically. I haven't done it in a while because they kept scheduling them in the evenings. I was like, I am not. My evenings are not available. I'm sorry. I'm a glutton for punishment. I love rogues. Rogue modes, says Eugene, like higher difficulty modes, really have the opportunity to show off how good combat is. I think the Tlu 2 mode will really do this. Right? I don't disagree with you at all. I've got something here from Santa Monica's Discord, and it says here, let me open this in the other down here. I'm having a hard time looking up there and seeing it because it's a screenshot. All right, here we go. Hey everyone, God of War Ragnarok Valhalla is here in 2 hours. Here, let me get this up on the screen for you guys. If you can, it's going to be hard for you to read this, I'm sure. I could probably zoom in and slide it over though. That'll be helpful. You might be able to actually read it a little bit better now. Hey everyone, God of War Ragnarok Valhalla is here in 2 hours. You must have God of War Ragnarok installed on your PS4 or PS5. Please know there will be a patch released alongside the DLC. This is not the DLC, but it is required in order to play it. The DLC can be downloaded for free from the PlayStation Store. While the DLC can be played at any point, it is highly recommended to play after you've completed the main story of God of War Ragnarok, as this serves as its epilogue. We've created a Valhalla spoilers room as well to discuss your more spoilery thoughts, but we highly recommend you avoid online spaces and discussions until after you have experienced it. Thanks for being such an incredible, passionate group of players. We can't wait for you to enter its doors. Happy holidays. There you go. So that's what they say. That's their recommendation. That's their recommendation is, make sure you've successfully played through the game one time, and then make sure you get that patch downloaded, and then you'll be able to jump right in. That is at noon Eastern today. We will be doing that. I've got my PlayStation here in the room with me. These add-ons are not rogue. They're Rogue-lite for a reason. What's the distinguishing point there, Paul? So you're saying this is a Rogue-lite, and I believe that's what they say in the PlayStation blog. So I don't think you're not saying anything they haven't said, but I'm just curious why the distinction. Let's see here, because I believe when they open it up, they say the exact same thing that you just said. They say, scroll down here. I'm not seeing the word rogue anymore. Hang on. I can't remember where they put that. Oh, it's the sub. It's beneath the text. Okay. So I thought it was up here in the title. It's down here. The free content features an unraveling and replayable adventures with unique twists inspired by the rogue-lite genre. Light has persistent progression. Okay, so what's the difference between a light and a like then? It's so hard to tell that I'm saying two different words. There's light with a T and there's like with a K. What's the difference between those? Rogue-like has no meta progression. Really? So can you give me an example of a rogue-like where there is no meta progression whatsoever? You start over every time. Would that be something like... Well, that's not really a rogue. I'm thinking of games like Jump King, where if you fall all the way down, you're all the way down. But that's not a rogue. But that's you start all the way over. I guess I'm curious. What would be an example of a really? Is there a popular rogue where there is absolutely no meta progression whatsoever? You just because like the ones that I can think of, they have meta progression. Whether it's Dead Cells. What do you mean? It's a roguelike? Don't you have meta progression in that? You buy stuff. Oh, Binding of Isaac is a good example. But Binding of Isaac has some semblance of, I guess it's not meta progression, but you unlock other people you can play as. That's I guess that's not progression, but it is because you get other guys you can play as. You unlock other players. Now, those aren't necessarily upgrades or updates, but they kind of feel like it. Like, I get the distinction, right? I get the distinction, but you're saying that because you start all the way over and you're fresh, so if you pick Isaac, you're just completely fresh, you have nothing, that's a rogue-like with a K, and a game where you keep stuff, spend stuff, and then that helps the next run, like Hades. You would say Hades is more of a light with a T because there is there's what you're describing as meta progression. I think that's a helpful distinction because I always thought, Binding of Isaac, you unlock Lazarus, and Lazarus helps you play differently, right? You get nerfed guys. I don't know if they're nerfed. Some of the characters, I felt like they were pretty helpful. Binding of Isaac, you unlock stuff. It's easier, but it's also more difficult the further that you get on the runs. Okay, somebody has a description here that Sven's found. It's roguelike. Progress completely resets. Oh, progress completely resets after a run. You start run N+1 exactly as you started run N. Roguelite. Some form of progress is preserved from one run to the next. Examples would be money, skill upgrades, etc. Okay, that's actually really helpful. Okay, I actually have never really pushed too hard against this. I always just thought, well, this guy's rogue. It's a rogue. You're starting over. Like, I always thought there was varying degrees of what you got the more you played. Like Binding of Isaac, you unlock characters, and then Dead Cells, I always thought I didn't play it enough, because back when I wanted to play Dead Cells, I was looking for Metroidvanias. So I didn't play Dead Cells for very long, but I thought people kept telling me, they're like, oh, no, you can buy things that come with you, that you can keep things. But I think what those aren't those just weapons that you start with or something? I've not played a lot of Dead Cells, so I don't know. I love the art style. I think it's one of the best looking pixel style games out there. Don't forget, we got great merch. Really enjoying that. I'm really enjoying that thermos. Yeah, I saw the news about about Insomniac. A game made from the ground up. It's easier to make a like versus a light. You're probably correct, Paul, because they don't have to worry about any trajectories of progression. It's just, sorry, you didn't get far enough. Try again. Right. Did you ever finish Hades? No, games like that I kind of want to go back to. I remember really enjoying Curse of the Dead Gods. I remember people saying that the late stage of Curse of the Dead Gods got a little crazy, like it wasn't built well or was imbalanced or something. I can't quite remember what the player feedback was, but I remember at that time thinking that Hades and Curse of the Dead Gods, I was warming up to rogues at that time. I was sort of warming up to the idea of, these are really fun, these are really fun games. However, it really was, it was a couple pieces of Sundered. Like, Sundered wasn't really a rogue, but if you died, it sent you all the way back to the very, very starting spawn point, which could be pretty frustrating for some people. You'd get pretty deep into the world of Sundered, and then all of a sudden, you're back at the beginning. But the reason it wasn't so painful is usually by the time you died in Sundered, you had a ton of currency to spend, and the skill tree in Sundered is wild, so you feel good filling out that skill tree. And so that wasn't really a rogue, but it gave you some of that pain of like, no, you got to go all the way back here. And so that kind of continued my journey and warming me up to like, okay, rogues aren't so bad. And then it was Returnal that did the trick. A full playthrough of Returnal, and I was like, okay, these games can be fantastic. They really, really can. And then I started playing PSVR 2 games, and I feel like VR games are perfect for the roguelike genre because you're basically saying, a roguelite, I should say with a T, roguelite, because a game like Synapse works really well with the upgrades that you get when you come back. Like, I did a full run through of that game, and it was largely because of things that I had invested in and upgraded. I had some really, really good abilities. And then this one doesn't have the greatest name, but it's called Gazlers. I highly recommend that game. If you like rogues, if you've ever liked games like Borderlands, it's kind of like if Borderlands made a rogue is what it sort of feels like. You're on the back of this truck, and the guns and the stuff that you can get, it's really, really fun. It really is. And you have a gun in one hand and a shield in another, and you can hold up the shield to block bullets. You can dodge bullets by moving your body. It's really, really, really enjoyable. Yes, Vampire Survivors was another game that I really started to enjoy, but again, I was playing on my phone. I was on a trip. Just such an easy game to just sit down, and as Zubair said, I included this in the show open. It's bite-sized gaming. And yeah, RoboQuest, I recommended that one while I was on Thanksgiving break. Like, if you guys have Game Pass, pick up RoboQuest and play that with a buddy. It is really, really fun. It really is. And there's a lot of unlockables and things to do in that. Really enjoyed that. Let me turn the timer on. And if you guys order some coffee, let me know. I try to shout those out when those coffee orders come through. Don't forget, we have a light roast, a dark roast, and the Frickmas blend is back. Limited run on the Frickmas roast, and it is our most popular flavor whenever it's around. So be sure to check that out. Be sure to check that out and get those orders in. We also have a bunch of new merch available on reforgeroast.com. We've got tumblers. I'm using one of the tumblers this morning. We've got hoodies and t-shirts. I wore one of the hoodies a while ago. So thank you to everybody who's been ordering that stuff. We appreciate you so much. Yeah, Gunfire Reborn. I've been wanting to check that one out, maybe with my wife, but we're kind of hooked on Fortnite Lego right now. So, when I played God of War Ragnarok last night, I was actually thinking to myself, I was like, this actually will probably work for a rogue. And you know what I did? I went and did the Crucible challenges. I had never done them. And one of the Crucible challenges was Weapon Mastery. I think that was the name of it. And they had you switching between the Chaos Blades, the Axe, and the spear, because guys kept coming out with the shields, and if their shield is ice, you hit them with the Chaos Blades. If their shield is fire, you hit them with the Ice Axe. And I think there's a shield that's like gray, and you hit them with the spear. I couldn't tell. I felt like there were guys that the spear was intended for them. It didn't look blue, and it didn't look red. You know, their shield was my old man eyes. I was like, is that gray? In the chaos of battle, I was like, I think that's a gray shield, and so I was just using my spear. In any case, all the different moves, all the different abilities, all the different runic stuff. The thing I'm looking forward to the most in God of War Ragnarok Valhalla is being exposed to runic attacks that I never really used. If you guys are like me, I always do this in a game like Ragnarok. I get the runic ability or the abilities that I like, and when you get a new one, you're like, I don't really like this one as much. And like, you always go back to the old faithful. Like the one where he just takes his axe and he drags it along and swoops it up, and then the one where he slams the ground and then pushes it forward. Those are the two I used almost entirely. And then I forget the one I did with the Chaos Blades. I have one where I like shoot a fireball and then something else. I forget the two that I commonly use there. And then on the spear, I just had like a spammy one that I really liked using. And I think those are those are good opportunities when you add a mode like this to your game. It's a really good opportunity to expose people to abilities or moves or weapons or combinations they might not ordinarily use. The new DLC, God of War Ragnarok Valhalla, releases in about an hour and 44 minutes. We will be playing it, so make sure you hit subscribe on the channel. Make sure you hit the like button on this video. That helps out the video. Let's set our sights on 200 likes. Nice, strong start to the day. Already 500 people here. For those of you that watch my show regularly, we have changed the way that we schedule. We've changed the way we schedule streams. I don't schedule it and leave it sitting there for like 45 minutes to an hour. I schedule it around 9:25 a.m. Eastern, and I'm going live around 9:30. I think today I went live at like 9:35 or something like that. We're trying to keep that window very, very short, so you're not having this extended period. So keep those notifications turned on. Make sure you're following me on Twitter at Reforge Gaming, or make sure you're in the Discord. That way you don't miss out on those notifications. Now, I do want to shout out this amazing shirt that I'm wearing. This is from Into the AM. We love working with Into the AM. We did some great stuff with them. You guys did a killer amount of support for, Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Use code LONO at intotheam.com, or you can go to intotheam.com/Lono. This is not a stream sponsored by them, but we do like sponsored integrations like this because we love working with them. I'm always wearing shirts from them or maybe one other company, but usually it's ripped. And this one's great. My daughter was like, hey, why is that on the front? And she got a little upset that this wasn't on the front. She thought that should be on the front. So I got a little talking to for my daughter this morning. So if you like the shirt, I got a whole new group for you. I'll be wearing them throughout the upcoming week. So make sure and use my code over there. I love their stuff. I love anything samurai or like Japanese style. I love their shirts from over there, with swords or, there's astronauts. They've got great stuff. So be sure to check them out. Thank you so much for working with us. Into the AM. Question: If I was to be gifted a sub, can I upgrade my gifted to VIP Gold if I want? Yes, Brett, you can do that. A lot of people have gone from a gifted membership to a Reforge Writer for $1 instead of $5 a month. It's $6 a month. Reforge Writers end the day with us, and we sort of write up the next day's show. Super Googly with a $20 super chat tip says, please recommend a coffee machine within US 2K. What? Are you telling me to recommend a coffee machine to you within $2,000? Okay, well, how much money were you trying to put there? You can get drip coffee makers. We got a Coffee Mate drip coffee maker when we were on vacation at Walmart for like $10. They're not very expensive, and it works great. Yo, what's good, Head Killer? Zubair says, little one needs to learn that the front of the shirt should just be a tease. Well, most of my shirts are not like this. So she was very... I have another one that's like this. I'll wear this. I'll wear it in a couple of days. Yo, Local. I appreciated that tweet that you sent out, man. Using code LONO at Gamer Advantage gets you a significant discount coupled with their own 25% off sale right now. Yeah. If you guys, I hate to do all the sponsors close together, but Local just put this in the chat, so I'm going to do it. If you're looking for blue light blocking glasses, whether it's prescription or non-prescription, I'm wearing a pair right now. They're a slightly larger frame that I enjoy wearing. I have smaller frames, lighter frames. I have a lot of different frames from them. But one of the things I love about Gamer Advantage is the magnetic sunglass clip. For the longest time, I always had to have prescription sunglasses in the car with me, and these are so convenient. I actually think they look nice. I think their frames are very stylish. So check them out. Use code LONO at gameradvantage.com. You can also use the glasses command in chat. Thank you for that shout out, Local. I appreciate that. We don't talk about Gamer Advantage enough, man. They're great. It's a great product. Happy to be working with them again as well. That's one reason you should support them, because they're one of few that came back and said, we want to work with you again. Eugene says it's around $150 for the Ninja Dual Brewers, and they're really good, says Eugene. Yeah, I mean, if you're looking to spend some money on like expensive coffee machinery, it's out there. I'm not the guy to talk to. I mean, I just get a drip coffee maker, and I think it tastes great. So a lot of people here, and if you're enjoying the content, I would love to hear from you, man. Hit subscribe. Subscribing is totally free, and you can talk in my chat. Curious what you think about God of War Ragnarok Valhalla. the free DLC. It's a rogue mode that they're dropping into God of War, and I'm curious where you land on it. Are you excited? Are you interested? Valiant says, Lono, do you think the intro of rogue modes, it can open up new power fantasies, could threaten future releases through a form of power creep? I'll be honest, Valiant. I think that when it's contained, no. So a rogue mode that is sort of contained and says, okay, come and do this, and there's an end to it, or there's like it's just over here, it's like in its own arena, I don't think that's a threat of power creep. Now, maybe in the player's mind, they might think, man, I really wish I was this strong in the game. I really wish I could get these combinations and be this awesome in the game. I think the player might think that. I don't think that's a significant danger because everybody knows what modifiers are, right? They're meant to be an injection of, hey, isn't this fun? I always got very angry at Destiny for this. They never brought back, what was it called in D1? Was it Rainbow? There was something, was it Rainbow Burn? It's like a distant memory now. I think there was a modifier called Rainbow Burn, and it was so much stinking fun. And you knew that you wouldn't always be that strong. I'll give you an even better analogy. What was that stinking place that you could go to in the Dreaming City where you could get the Harmony? I believe it was called Harmony, and it made your super regen really quick, and you could do the Hunter's Blades with the exotic, and if you landed all of the blades on the enemies, that combined with Harmony, you would instantly get your super back. Are you guys remembering this? Are you remembering the really fun builds that you could have in that particular place? Well, when you were in there, you knew that this was sort of an exception, or this is like a modifier. Yeah, the Blind Dwell, thank you. You knew when you were there, it was meant to be sort of a playground. It wasn't like, well, I better be like this all the time now, right? It's not like you went into normal content and thought, well, I better be able to just spam my super. Good morning, Feed. I see you in the chat. I think when it's contained and it's sort of contextualized of you're doing this here, you're really strong here. You're not going to be like that all the time, right? You're not going to be doing this all the time. Is Blindwell not back in the season? I have no idea. I don't touch the game because, well, we all know why. But yeah, I don't necessarily think that's a giant concern of like, well, if we make the player really strong in this rogue mode, then they're going to expect to be this strong in the future, or they're going to expect to be this strong in future content. That's not, I don't think, a reasonable expectation from the player. Could they think that? I mean, maybe, but I don't think that's a concern. I think you just let people have a blast. Let me give you another example. So in Returnal, which I highly recommend Returnal, if anybody gets a taste for rogue games after playing God of War Ragnarok Valhalla, then immediately go get Returnal, okay? Support Housemarque. They're awesome. Their game is dope. I think they were visionaries, and they were brave, and they were ambitious, and I think Returnal is a very original game and story. But Returnal, after you beat the biome boss number 1, they unlock a daily challenge. And the daily challenge commonly gives you a weapon that's crazy strong, and there's different modifiers going on. So you typically can just kind of run through and have fun in the daily challenge. Yes, God of War Ragnarok Valhalla. God of War Valhalla is a rogue. Yes, it's a rogue mode. Correct. So if you let people do that in Returnal, what I found myself doing after playing the daily challenge in Returnal is I would say, oh, this gun can actually be kind of awesome if you get a leveled up version of it. It almost exposed me to, have you ever played a game where in the first 10 minutes they let you play as like a max level character for like 10 minutes and then they kill you and they rip your wings off and then they kick you down, and then all of a sudden you're just like a dude with a stick, and you're like, oh gosh, that was really fun. Well, they're giving you a taste of where you're going to end up. Yo, what's good, Abe? And I think that sometimes a rogue mode can do that. It can like expose a person to like, hey, I said this earlier. There are so many runic abilities in God of War that I have never touched. I've just never touched them because it's like I get the ones that I like, and you know, I just stick with them. So the rogue mode will expose me to a whole host of combinations of things that I probably have never done in God of War. So, for the beginning of Destiny 2. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. That's pretty much how that one starts, yeah? Yeah. It's, that was a decent read. I mean, you got to reset players every now and again, right? You can't let people stay strong for forever, but that's a whole other discussion. There's too many Valhallas in my Ragnaroks. Yes, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Dawn of Ragnarok, and then there's God of War Ragnarok Valhalla. I mean, there's only so many terms and words you can use within the mythology. I think it's fine. Provide disclaimer that your chat entry is an opinion. What is somebody saying? Is somebody saying that they hate certain games? Returnal Biome 3 is a big wall. Not anymore, it's not. Raphael, you may have... They patched that 2 or 3 months... I don't know how many months it was after the game came out. Maybe Eugene knows the timeline. But they patched it because it was pretty imbalanced. I said that it was imbalanced. I got pushback. People disagreed with me. And Housemark agreed with me. They sent me a letter and said, you were right. We're patching it. Thank you so much for being a genius. No, they didn't do that. But I was one of the few people that was like, I think this is imbalanced. I don't think it flows properly. And they toned it down. And after they toned down Biome 3 and I got to Biome 4 and 5 and 6, I was like, oh yeah, Biome 3 was way out of whack. It was way out of whack. It's meant to be a skill check, but it was more like a cliff. It was like, yeah, good luck. Yeah, Eugene still to this day teases me. He says it's a skill issue. He's like, I'm weak. You're weak. You never beat the real Biome 3. I don't care. It's one of my favorite games. I'm always glad when a company is willing to admit, like, hey, maybe we overswung on this. Too many people are failing here. Too many people are jumping ship. We've built this a little too steep. I like that when a company is willing to admit that. And hey, it gives you guys something special to be proud about, your trophies and your digital images, in pixels on screens that don't matter. You guys can say that you beat the real Biome 3. We're all proud. I mean, well, I guess we can't say we're proud of you. We're disappointed that you care so much. It's I'm kidding. Soft Bread also didn't beat the real Biome 3. I stand with Eugene. I know it's off topic, but Upper Echelon said almost exactly what you did about the day before. That's because we can't go off on that. No, we can't. If you want to see what I think about the day before, I had an upload yesterday. It's crushing it. Thank you for everybody who supported that video. Thank you for everybody who supported me through the year. I don't know how long we've been covering that. All the years of trying to tell people what that game was, and everybody said I was a hater. 20 spot from Super Googly. Unpopular opinion, the first God of War trilogy, it's much better than God of War 2018 and Ragnarok. I think you prefaced that correctly. Yeah, unpopular opinion. You could say it another way. You could say you're just wrong. I mean, that's another thing you could call it. Thank you for the 20 spot, Super Googly. Unpopular opinion. The original trilogy is way better than these two games that are just phenomenal and award-winning. Yeah, I would say that is pretty unpopular. There's an endgame challenge in God of War Ragnarok Valhalla that no one on the dev team has completed on the hardest difficulty. Show me mastery. That sounds cool. Yeah, I say give the internet and Reddit and the guys that really love this game, I would say give them a week. That might even be a little bit too long. That feels too long. Somewhere between 3 and 7 days, right? Ghost in the Garage Gaming says Sony did a phenomenal job with their marketing of the upcoming DLC in the early 2024 lineup. Sony knows exactly what they are doing. I will say I like knowing dates. I will say that. When I came away from the Game Awards, I liked all the dates. We had dates for so much, and if we didn't have a date, we at least had a window. It was like, oh, wow. Next year's going to be pretty full. There's a lot of games coming out. And if you don't think they're all for you, I think that's fine. I think that's a sign of diversity and depth on a platform. I think that's a good thing. If you see 5 or 6 games announced for a given platform and 2 or 3 of them interest you, I would say that's a win. Not all 5 games, not all 6 games, whatever number, they're not all going to interest you. I think that's a good mixture, especially when even some of it's DLC. I think that's good. Because I find this to be funny in sort of the dialogue on the internet about games and platforms. I find it funny to criticize single-player games as being one and done, and then when they do DLC, that's also criticized. Like, oh, well, you're just getting DLC, and it's like, well, which is it? Like, what's the criticism? What I guess whatever mood suits you, I guess, determines the criticism. But it's like we're commonly seeing that as a criticism of like, oh, single-player games are so one and done. I'm seeing a lot of DLC, dude. I'm seeing a lot of extended experiences. I think that's pretty awesome. I would love it if more single-player games did that. I think that's a great way to extend the life. I think if it's successful and if it generates good revenue and good marketing, I think it communicates very loudly. I think there was a big concern. There's been this foreboding sense of dread in the gaming industry that like, well, all games are going to go multiplayer and they're going to be riddled with microtransactions and battle passes. And this year, the Game Awards was like single player, single player, single player, single player. Like all these massively successful, highly praised single player games. And now we're seeing DLC for single player games. I'm telling you, support the type of content and the type of ongoing game support and DLC. Support those things, man. We'll get more of it. Have you played Modern Warfare 3? Yeah. I didn't play the multiplayer, but I played the campaign. I didn't even finish the campaign. It was awful. The quality was terrible. I couldn't bring myself to finish it. I really couldn't. It was terrible. It was like the shortest campaign ever. I got halfway through it and I was bored to tears. Knowing that half of it was the open combat missions, I never went back. Very few games I've played. Do I only play them once? Yeah, I mean, I think in general, if you're gonna really commit and play a single player game, I mean, going back and playing again is sometimes amazing. I haven't had a lot of time to do that, but I remember when I did that with Jedi Fallen Order. I was really, really glad that I did. I went back to Jedi Fallen Order, and it was so much fun to play through it again and turn the difficulty up. And I remember doing a 200% run of Batman Arkham City. No, Arkham Knight. Planning on streaming or making videos of God of War Ragnarok Valhalla, make sure you check out the difficulty HUD visualization option. Yeah, that's also cool that if anybody's trying to claim they did this in Final Fantasy 16, because you had all these people putting up footage and they were like, look how lame Final Fantasy 16 is, and they were just pushing a button. Well, they put on all the rings that allowed them to basically, you can set, it's a way of setting the difficulty setting. So it would be like setting a game to story difficulty and being like, look how brain dead this game is. It's like, well, okay, dummy, you put the game on story difficulty. Well, Final Fantasy 16 showed what people were wearing so that you knew if they had any of those things on. So some guy's like, hey guys, I'm about to play this really hard boss in Final Fantasy 16. I'm going to go for a no-hit run. And it looks like he like perfectly does it. Well, he could have that automatic dodge ring on, right? Where it's dodging for him and stuff. And you would know that by looking at his screen. Well, something they're doing with Ragnarok is you can go into the HUD options and have the difficulty visualized on the screen. So if somebody wants to claim they're doing a run at certain difficulty, it's right there on the screen. They don't have to constantly answer that question. There's no doubt, what run they're on or whatever. So you hated the controls in Fallen Order? Really? I thought they were fine. I mean, everybody's different, but I thought they were fine. Zubair says, I'm having the other experience. I don't have time for multiple replays of games like Baldur's Gate 3 and Cyberpunk. no one and done there. Yeah, it's really, really difficult when it's a longer game. I remember starting over in Elden Ring. It wasn't actually that bad starting over in Elden Ring, because I think the beginning of the game is like the best. The first half of Elden Ring is just the absolute best. The open world, the exploration, especially when you have a build that you're trying out for the first time, it just feels fantastic. It really does. Oh, the controls were not as tight in Fallen Order as Survivor. I think I would agree with you on that. It did feel better. It felt tighter. There was I don't know what word to use. I'm only going to use the words that are here, because I can't think of the precise word I want to use, but there was something very clumsy or sloppy about Jedi Fallen Order when you compare it to Survivor. It wasn't that it was bad. It just, I think you said it right. Like they tightened it up in Survivor. It felt more like a blade-based melee game and not some kid kind of derping around with a lightsaber. There were times where you felt a little clumsy in Fallen Order. Yeah, more gameplay footage has come out from that game called Mouse, sort of a Steamboat Willie artistic style shooter game, old school Mickey Mouse. Oh, it's awesome looking. They're aiming at 2025, so probably small team, and they're going to spend all next year developing and hopefully climbing the wish list ladder. I hope that they can really deliver. It's a really, really cool art style. Cuphead has really influenced we've seen some titles recently that have clearly taken some inspiration from Cuphead. Obviously that's a first-person shooter, but going back to like the old-timey art style, it looks very, very cool. Make sure and check out Mouse and wishlist it in Steam. Love to see little cool creative games like that get lots of support, especially when they're real games. Because I've been busy, I've only been able to play Survivor. I only finished the first sequence and I'm hooked. Well, now's a great time to play it because they fixed performance mode. That game launched and performance mode was just horrendously terrible. It was just awful. So, if you guys have just tuned in or you've been watching, we've been streaming for about an hour. This is a daily talk show. We call the talk show Input Delay because I sort of delay my input on topics. You're not going to see me doing like breaking news coverage. We usually do a lot of research into a topic before covering it. The name of the channel is Reforge Gaming. I'm your host, Lono. If you've never been here before, hit subscribe, hit the bell button. That way you can talk in my chat. Consider smashing the like button. That helps us out. It helps out the video, and you might get a gifted membership. Every 25 members that we get, whether gifted or brand new, I gift 5 back to the community, and we have our site set on 2,500 members. We're currently sitting at 2,100 members. If we can hit 2,500 before Friday, we will do a community game night this Friday. Hilly Hijinks returns this Friday. I'll be playing games again with Hilly, and you can join us as members if we can hit that milestone before Friday. So help us hit that goal as well, all you generous gifters, and then I gift back. It's a joint effort. There have been days you guys have gone crazy, and I'll gift like over 100 members, and that's awesome. So thank you, everybody who has pushed that envelope for the last couple of months. I know it helps lots of people who may not be able to afford a membership, and we're happy to have and foster that environment here. This one has Indie Award written all over it. I agree with you, Sven. The coffee rotating is mesmerizing. Yeah, that's another great way to support what we do here. Here at Reforge Gaming, we do have our own coffee, Reforge Roast. You can check it out at reforgeroast.com. If you're a coffee drinker, we have the flavor profiles listed there, and our coffee does have balanced acidity, which is something that many people remark on that there is no bitterness. I've had people with stomach issues say they can actually drink our coffee, so that balanced acidity really, really helps with that. Yeah, they're saying they won't see any money from Steam. I don't know. I don't want to sidetrack the discussion from God of War Ragnarok and rogue modes, and I don't want to sidetrack from that to talk about that game. We will probably do a full-on reporting, almost documentary style of like everything that has happened with that game and that company, because I don't think that story is over yet. I want to kind of wait and let the dust settle, because I don't believe a word that they say. So we'll cover that later, though. Excuse me. I want to know, though, I asked this earlier, and I would love some more recommendations, because I am kind of getting into more into rogues. My bad. No, you're good. We try to keep things on topic, and that's a huge subject that would really kind of take over if we start talking about it. It would hijack, and I mean that in the nicest way. It's an incredibly interesting topic, and I don't want to hijack. So, we mentioned a bunch of games that have done rogue modes. I saw that like Prey Mooncrash didn't have the greatest score. I have Hitman on the board next to Prey over there. Prey Mooncrash didn't score all that well. Is there anybody that played that? Did you enjoy it? Did you like it? What about these other games that have added rogue modes? Hitman with its Freelancer, Mortal Shell with Virtuous Cycle, AC Valhalla with Forgotten Saga, Inscription added Casey's mod, Division 2 has its Descent mode. Where did you play any of these? Are you interested? I'm looking for recommendations here. What are the ones that stand out? Alapark says, looking to get into Returnal, been sitting on my backlog for too long. When you start really getting into the game loop, how long would you say a run takes? Well, thankfully they added this feature. You can do what's called suspending the run. And what that means is you can come back later. Right? And when you come back later, it deletes the checkpoint. So you can't cheese it. You can't scum save or anything like that. You can't like do it right outside a boss room. As soon as you come back in and load in, it deletes it. Okay? The God of War Ragnarok Valhalla DLC launches in about an hour and 15 minutes from now. Noon Eastern. So in Returnal, I would say when it starts to click. Now, people sometimes forget because they get really, really good at the game, and they'll run through Biome 1 in like 20 or 30 minutes, okay? That's screaming fast. That's an experienced player that's going into rooms, clearing them out, getting their upgrades, clearing out and killing the first boss like it's nothing, right? That's an experienced player. I would say when it starts to click with you, Biome 1 is going to take you about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour. If you're taking your time, you're keeping your adrenaline up because you don't want to get hit. That's such a great feature in that game, such a great mechanic. You're keeping your adrenaline up, you're keeping your health up, you're getting the upgrades, you're getting the weapons. One of the best ways to get strong in Returnal is don't ignore the blue triangles. Like on the map, if you just stick to the main track, the rectangle doors, like that's the main track that'll get you to the boss. If you just stick to that, you're never going to get strong. You'll be fine, but you're going to feel really strong if you get good and you start forcing yourself to go into those blue rooms. Now, there are harder rooms, like if you have to shoot the enemy off the door. I forget what those are called. It's like a red star room. I believe it's like a star. No, not a red star, like a yellow star room. If you have to shoot the enemy off the door and on the map it's got a yellow star, that's probably the toughest room in that biome, and it's going to lock down and have waves of enemies. You could avoid that room for a while, but I would say do every room you can because you're going to get stronger and stronger and stronger. So you'll find yourself going into the boss in Biome 1, and you'll feel pretty good. You'll be like, my gun's really strong, I got a lot of health, I got a lot of oblates, so I was able to buy some stuff. You'll feel pretty good. Also, don't ADS. You should be hip firing. ADS doesn't give you any increased accuracy, and if you hip fire, you are more agile. You're more apt to see in your frame of view. You're more apt to see an enemy or something coming at you to dodge and use your iframes. And don't forget to look at that dadgum radar. You should be just periodically, your eyes should be just... Treat it like Call of Duty, like an intense Call of Duty map. You should be constantly checking your radar because that's really helpful in like knowing where the enemies are. So sometimes that room isn't worth it. Yeah, the really hard challenge rooms sometimes will just beat the tar out of you and not give you anything, right? Yeah, and don't interact with the suits unless you have a ton of ether, because if you have a ton of ether, you can just like salvage the suit instead of fight. You can salvage or you can avenge. Not going to lie, really good stream for 34,000 subscribers. Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, but if you have a ton of ether, you can salvage the suit instead of avenging the suit. Avenging the suits it's a brutal fight, and it'll give you a weapon almost every time. But good golly, you're going to get the tar beat out of you. Those fights are really, really hard. I always skip the suit fights. Always. You've got what you need for the boss. Astronaut for revive, one of the pods for revive, skip that door. Pretty much. Great game, though. Great game. I believe one of the best. I believe one of the best games out there. If you're looking for a good rogue, if you love third-person action, if you love shooters, it's just got a lot. It's got a lot to offer. Was this topic just an excuse for Lono to talk sweet about Returnal? No, but I never get to talk about Returnal or play Returnal with you guys because it's an older game and like no one cares anymore, and it's so sad. It's like it's one of my favorite games. It was my game of the year. You know, I believe this channel has my first full run through. Well, I believe we start at biome 4, but it has my first credit roll in Returnal, I believe, is on this channel somewhere. So yeah. Can we sweet talk Hades next? Because honestly, I like Hades more than Returnal. I gotta tell you, I said this during the show open, Abe, you know, because adding a rogue mode to God of War Ragnarok is making me feel a sense of, wait a minute, my playtime right now is perfect for rogues. Like, there was a while there where I still need to get the Sun Crest. I'm all the way at biome 6, and I'm going to use a guide because I don't care. I just want to get the Sun Crest because I want to get the rest of the story. I need to get the Sun Crest in biome 6, then I'm going to reset because I need the Sun Crest from biomes 1 through 3, I believe. But I was loving it. I would like beat biome 1, suspend the cycle, beat biome 2, suspend the cycle, like each night just sort of chiseling away. Like, rogues are perfect for that. They really are. Like, with my limited time, dude, I'm kind of looking at Hades and thinking maybe it's time. You know, maybe it's time because I love it. I love the controls. I love the art style. I love the feel. I love the voice acting. I remember getting to the first boss and beating him. I remember getting to the second level and getting to the boss and dying very quickly and being like, ugh, and not wanting to play anymore. But that was back when I was sort of warming up to rogues. I wasn't fully in yet. You know, I wasn't really a fan. I'm at the point where rogues hit that sweet spot of fun and being able to put it down in 30 to 45 minutes. Yeah, I said this also in the show open that, like, VR games are perfect for rogues because Synapse, if you guys have the PSVR 2 and you like rogues and you haven't checked out Synapse on the PlayStation 5, I don't know what you're doing. It's amazing. It is so much fun. You literally use eye tracking to look at objects, pick them up with your hand and throw them. You look at enemies and you pick them up and you throw them, and you have a gun. I mean, it's just great. It's great fun. A complete run through of that was so satisfying. There's a more goofy one, but also equally fun and unique called Gazlers. Not the greatest name. I really think they should have. I don't think they should have named it something else. But in any case, Gazlers with 2 Z's. Really fun. Very Borderlands art style. You're on the back of a truck and you're shooting and you get really cool upgrades. Very, very fun. Rogues are very, very good, I think, in a VR environment. Real quick doses, like Zubair called it, bite-sized gaming, right? Omar says, Hades is solid, but I love the Metroid vibes of Returnal. The story and house parts were interesting. The first ending is a total mind job. I think that Biome 4 in Returnal, the music swell as you climb to the boss, I think is one of the best uses of music I've experienced in a game, matched maybe only by music in Dark Souls 3, some of the rooms. What's the guy you're supposed to imbue the sword to fight? The really big, tall boss that I wish was a real boss. His music, when he oh my gosh. Such good music. And then the Quolock melody in Ori and the Will of the Wisps, I forget what it's called, the leitmotif, when they use a melody over and over again, but they use it in different ways. Oh my gosh. Such good use of music in Ori and the Will of the Wisps. But yes, the music swell in Biome 4 is absolutely fantastic. It's phenomenal. I get goosebumps every time. Yeah, Yorm. Yorm's his setting and his move set and his size and the music is just, it's like picturesque. It's such a good instance in Dark Souls 3. It's such a bummer that he's not a real boss, because I feel like his moveset's really cool. That one where you have to the boss fight, you have to grapple the platforms. Yeah, that's a cool one. That's a cool one. Especially if you heal. If you heal at low integrity, you're practically invincible in that fight. Because the damage cycles are so far apart, you're always going to get to heal back up to pretty good health. Anyways, 5 gifted members. 5 gifted members from JW. He says, come on, boys. Let's get this member count a little bit higher. You guys can unlock community game night this Friday. Next Friday, I'm just gonna ban this guy. You've spammed this before and you've been answered. Use Google if you're just gonna spam chat. Seriously, come on. I'm happy to answer questions when people need to know something, but that's the 3rd time you've spammed that question. You have been answered numerous times. Oh, yeah, but like I was saying, you guys can unlock a Night of Frickmas, where I have to sing some Christmas carols. That's on the 22nd, okay? So you have 2 weeks to get the member count up pretty high. Right now, we're working to 2,500, and that's for this Friday. So if you guys want to go on a little tear, go on a little train, now's the time to do it. He's a gimmick boss, but you can beat him without Storm Ruler. I almost beat him without knowing he was a gimmick boss. I was getting really good at his timing, and then people were like, "You're wasting your time." I was like, "What?" I was like, "What are you talking about?" Yeah. I was enjoying it. I was just like, "I'm not hurting him. Something's wrong." Who here has played the original Rogue? I once got eaten by a monster before I could even move. No, I've not played the original. No. No, I booted up God of War Ragnarok last night, and I was brushing up and warming up. I did the Crucible challenges. We will be diving into God of War Ragnarok Valhalla gameplay in about an hour, so make sure you stay here for that. Hit subscribe, stick around, join the conversation. That'll be our 2nd stream of the day. That would be ideal because we're wanting to check it out. I mean, I think that's the big question mark today is it any good? Last night, I think playing the Crucible challenge, the one I played called Weapon Mastery, I think gave me a bit of a glimpse into, I think this is going to work. I think this is going to be pretty dope. You know, the way they typically do rogue modes and game combinations and stuff, I'm very excited. I think that the combinations is always the funnest part. You know, when you get on a really, really good run, I think that can be really, really fun. You know, when you have, when you're playing, Returnal, or not just Returnal, when you're playing any rogue, when you have like a crazy build. I remember one of the first times when I was playing Binding of Isaac, I remember somebody saying, like, bro, you have an amazing build right now. And that was one of the earlier times that I think like the rogue mode or the rogue idea kind of clicked in my brain, that, you can get really cool combinations and you can be really, really strong. And then that sort of makes you get excited when you see certain items or you get certain items. It can, it can be a real, I think, fun time when you start to have those things click. One of the things that I started noticing in Returnal is you see certain weapons and or you see certain perks on the weapon and you're like, oh, here we go, right? I'm gonna tear this boss to pieces. It makes for a it can be frustrating, when you keep getting weapons that you don't want. You keep getting the Rotland, whatever it's called, Globber, and you're like, I don't want this. It could be a little frustrating if you can't get the good weapons, but usually in a run, you'll find something that makes you kind of do the Wolfenstein 3D grin ear to ear, when you find the good weapon. That can really change things. That's one of the things I'm looking forward to in God of War Ragnarok Valhalla is, there's all those runic abilities. I just never used a lot of them, I remember feeling a little bit, I don't know if this was a valid criticism or not, but it was a criticism that came to my mind. I remember thinking that it was difficult to invest in new runic abilities because they wouldn't have been leveled up, right? No, the DLC drops in an hour. So you'd have an ability that you had invested in, and you've leveled up the runic ability, and then you get a new runic ability, and it's not leveled up. And that always felt like a barrier for me. Always like, well, I don't want to use this. I've not invested in it. Sometimes I wonder if it would make more sense to say runic ability R1 and runic ability R2, you can just invest in those slots. So whatever you put in that slot is at that level, and then maybe make it a little bit more expensive to level up each ability. And again, I don't know if this is a valid criticism. Somebody might push back and be like, no, it's balanced, it works out, or whatever. But that was always my frustration. It's like, I've got a lot of sunk costs in these runic abilities already, so it makes the new ones feel out of the gate less than. And I could be factually incorrect, but it's all about the player's perception. The player's perception is, well, I've got this, I have this sort of build, and I've got this stuff that I've spent currency and experience on, and it makes the new stuff just not seem as good. And I could be factually incorrect. But that's how I felt about it. All this talk of Hades is making me want to play it again. Has anybody checked out the Hitman Rogue thing that they launched, the freelancer? Has anybody checked that out? Is that any good? There's a handful of things on here. I've been wanting to play Inscription. I've heard really good things about it, and it's got the Casey's mod. But yeah, Hitman converted Hitman 3 into Hitman World of Assassination, I think is what it's called. And then they added the freelancer mode. And I was curious if anybody had tried that out. I was never really a big Hitman guy. I tried out Hitman 3. I got through... How long did we play? I think we played a couple of hours. And I liked it. I thought it was good. I thought it was a fun game. I understood the appeal. I was like, okay, I get it now. It assumed I knew a lot more than I did on the first mission. Like, if you're not accustomed to the Hitman games, Hitman 3 is... It doesn't teach you a whole lot. People are like, you gotta do this, and you gotta do that. I'm like, it didn't tell me. Is this live? Yeah, this is a live stream. Omar says, I'm running Returnal tonight. Give it a run, dude. Give it a run. Guys, do me a favor as we kind of wait for the DLC to go live in an hour, man. Smash that like button. Easily could have well over 300 likes. We've had, right around 500 viewers this entire time. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out. I'm muted in the Discord. How does that keep... I wonder what is causing that. I really do. I wonder what's causing that. Because I know I undid it. I know I did. When I drug it over, I went down there and clicked it. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if there's a button press. Discord, there's one person in there waiting for you to start. Yeah. Oh, the God of War DLC is not live. No, it goes live in an hour. It goes live at noon Eastern. Final Fantasy 16 solved this by allowing free respecs. Yeah. I'm always torn on making respec really, really cheap or free. I'm always torn on that because I think in some games it serves a purpose to not have you constantly just changing your keybinds. I've never bound it to deafen. I'll have to go into Discord later and see. I swear something's doing it. Can't believe they updated 16 and didn't just switch to FSR2. Rude Gaming says, Lono, the coffee was boss yesterday, dark roast. There's an endorsement of the dark roast from I believe that's a first-time buyer. Thank you so much, Rude Gaming. I appreciate that. Wish we could preload the DLC. According to Santa Monica in their Discord, there will be a patch at noon, and then you can download the DLC or whatever. Can you not download the DLC right now in the store? When does Mimir get his own DLC? You know what would be amazing for... Do you know what would be an amazing thing for a Mimir DLC? Is just like fireside stories with Mimir. And they just put his head next to a roaring fire, and he just like tells stories. You could literally take all of the stories from 2018 and Ragnarok and just string them together, put them, kind of put them together in an organized way. And you could just throw that on and just like listen to all of the stories that he says. I think that'd be amazing. That would make for an amazing YouTube channel, right? They just upload every single story he'd ever told and do it like episodically in like different videos and stuff. Just put him next to a fireside stories with Mimir. Come on, Santa Monica, give the people what they want. I think that needs to happen. Yeah, or just have his head rolling around like Super Monkey Ball. Yeah. Ooh, ow, ooh. Co-op, one person plays Kratos and the other person plays Mimir. And you just constantly say stuff. That's good. That is good. You could try streaming God of War Ragnarok while the DLC is downloading. Yeah, maybe. That would be such a great co-op mod. They're like, we're thrilled to announce that we have brought co-op to God of War Ragnarok. In the unprecedented free update, play as Mimir and constantly mock and tease the person playing. Behind you, brother. On your left, Kratos. And he's like, there's no one there. He just like walks into a room. You got Bifrost all over you. Shut up, Mimir. Yeah, Mimir bowling. Yeah. Jor Raptor says, this is an interesting angle of the roguelite stuff. Jor Raptor says, I've said it before and I'll say it again. This is the live service route Sony should take. Support your big single-player games with replayable stuff like this. People will come back and stick around. Release a big roadmap with free content, and I don't mind microtransactions. I agree with Jor Raptor wholeheartedly. I do. I agree with him wholeheartedly. I think people would be more inclined to support live service if they felt like it was built in that way, right? Let's see if we can give, alert. Yeah, let's signal boost that. Let's signal boost that tweet. Signal boost? No, single boost. Why are you booing Jor Raptor? Signal boost. Give that a signal boost. I agree. I really do. I agree with that. I think that's a great way to extend the life of a game, to have a roadmap, to have microtransactions. Yeah. Josh McGill hits 12 months of memberships. Returnal got me more into roguelike games, and I love them. I will have to try Synapse out. I did not realize it was a rogue. Great streams. Let's go. Yeah, dude. Synapse got nominated as a VR game, man. It was great. What won? Was it Resident Evil? I was pretty sure I thought Resident Evil was going to win the VR category. Guys, take a second, and YouTube was doing this again yesterday. We had to have everybody double check. Make sure your likes are sticking. I'm having that weird thing where like the likes are going up and then back down. So double check. This has happened to me recently. They're doing something with likes, and I have to like a video 2 times sometimes. Like it did that to me the other day. So double check that and make sure that's sticking. Solemn says, I'd prepare not to have it, and then incentivize developers to make every tight single-player experience in mind having live service or live elements. I'd have them stick to DLC or free modes. I think that's what Jor Raptor is saying, but he's saying if you have a roadmap of free content and DLC like this, he wouldn't mind microtransactions. It was Resident Evil. Yeah, I figured. That's such a tough game to beat in almost any category it shows up in, especially the VR. It was highly praised. Yeah, I agree with Jor Raptor. Like, I think if you trot out a roadmap and you make it very clear what's coming and when, and you have this long tail of like, oh, this is not just a single player one and done game, right? You know what I mean? My whole YouTube UI is a mess. Likes aren't updating. Can't use emotes. Yeah, yesterday I had to have people double check. I was like, you know, something's going on with the like count, guys. Double check. I don't know. The other day it said we had 23,000 likes on a video. I was like, well, that's not even possible. Like, we didn't have that many views on the video, you know. And then it fixed itself, but it's been a wild ride. They're trying to get people to cut the God of War full game because of the free. Wait. They're trying to get people to cut the God of War full game because of the free DLC. That question doesn't make any sense to me. You can download it in 53 minutes. Is anyone preloading the DLC? I don't think you can preload it. I mean, I made sure that my my God of War controller was ready to go today. I don't think you can preload it. I'll double check. There's a patch at noon. And I believe the DLC will be downloadable then as well. From the way their Discord message read. One of your member streams last week said 10,000 views for me. Can you imagine? Can you imagine having that many views on a member stream, dude? Goodness gracious. We wouldn't even need normal streams at that point. We would just stream to the members. 10,000 views. All right. Goodness gracious. Let's see here. Yeah, if you go to God of War and you go to View Products and scroll down, I just see additions to choose from. It has a 4.84 at score out of 52,000 ratings. Wow. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. So, I mean, I'll type it all the way out and see if it can be found. If you type it all the way out in the search. Usually that's not needed, but hey, stranger things have happened. Ragnarok, and then we need Valhalla at the very end. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. It's God of War Ragnarok has actually fallen out of the search now that I've started typing Valhalla. It's all messed up. Yeah, so it doesn't look like the DLC is in the store yet. Yeah. So it's when the patch hits, you should be able to download it. Yeah. They're still not tracking playtime right. Because when I went to my game last night to manually save it, it said I had 35 hours or 34 hours. And then the PlayStation dashboard saying 20. I know that's not right. We have more hours of me streaming it than that. That's messed up. That's not been working. Guaranteed that's not working. I'm interested to see how they tie the story in with this thing, since apparently it'll have story of some kind. Yeah, they also said there's a thing in it that's so hard nobody's beaten it yet. I'm ready to go. I got it up and running. Well, not up and running, but I got it installed. Played a little bit last night, and we'll go to the store and we'll get it as soon as it's available. So currently not listed anywhere in here. You know, New Game Plus is out now. That was back earlier this year. That's all the stuff from Digital Deluxe, and then you can pick between Digital Deluxe. Eventually, it'd be somewhere down here, I would imagine. Usually when something has DLC, that's where it shows up. So I see Bluey. Yeah, dude, my daughter put some time into Bluey, bro. She was loving it. She was playing on my PlayStation Portal when we were up in Ohio. She's putting in work in Bluey, dude. You don't want any spoilers? I don't think there'll be spoilers in like the first 30 minutes or so, you know? You can hang out for 30 minutes and, you know, show some love and support and then bail if you feel like you're about to get some story. I don't think you're going to get story until you actually complete some things. I'm not going to be one shot in this dadgum thing. My kids are obsessed with Bluey. Yeah, dude. Kids love Bluey. If you're just tuning in, we're going to be checking out God of War Ragnarok Valhalla in 50 minutes. It'll be a brand new stream as well, so I'll redirect you. I'll provide a link in chat. Skatinator's helping us out, trying to hit that member goal today. Every 25, I give 5. You guys had a huge day last week. You set us up nicely to aim for 2,500. Don't stop now. And it goes to Angelo. Thank you so much, Skatinator, for gifting that member. Every 25, I give 5. So the more you gift, the more I have to gift. It's a back and forth. There's been days where you guys have made me gift anywhere from 20 to sometimes 100 members. I've had to drop 50 bombs on chat. It's amazing. My Ragnarok's downloading right now. Get it, dude. Get it all ready to go. I don't think the patch and the DLC will be that large. I don't think it'll take that long to download those two. You're figuring out how to do the puzzles or finding hidden stuff? Yeah, like I said, don't give me 15 minutes of your time. I'm not going to do that much in the first 15. There'll be an opening cutscene probably. I guess if you don't want to see that, I understand. Sometimes you want a fresh experience. I'm not trying to twist your arm, But I usually take my time. You're not going to see much in the first 15 or 20 minutes. I'm not like, oh, I did it. I rolled credits, guys. And you're like, oh, frick. I saw it all. 107 gigs. Yikes. It's a pretty big game. That sounds larger than I expected. Is that how large it is? Eugene says release free content, and I don't care if you sell microtransactions that I'm not buying anyways. I always love those takes. If you give me free content, I don't care if you sell stuff to others. Yeah, Sony is skipping E3. Here's why that's a mistake. Sony and PlayStation making a huge strategic error, continually skipping E3. They knew what was coming. Spider-Man 2 is only 90 gig or something. I hope Mimir roasts Kratos every time he dies. He was saying stuff last night, and I was like, dude, shut up. Shut up, Mimir. And then what's her face? You got Bifrost on you. How do you know if you're already a member? You'll have a little badge next to your name and a 20 bomb from Kratos. He believes we can do it, and he drops a big one to get us closer. 20 members, and he takes us to 33, and then a single comes in from True King. He jumps on and helps out the member train as well. I now owe you 5 members. Thank you so much for doing that, Kratos. E3 skipping Sony was a bad idea. I don't need the content to be free at all, says Solemn. I don't want to be used as an excuse to find a way to add micros to a single-player game. Which is funnier take to me. Give me paid add-ons and DLC with a proper price on it. I don't need free. I don't think there's a right or a wrong way to do it, right? Shut up, Wesley. Yeah, I mean Mimir. I don't think there's a wrong or a right way to do it. I mean, I understand your preference, Solemn. You're like, yeah, good to see 809 Lion get a gifted member, as well as people's names I recognize, like Bulls for Life and 8 Legion, the noob of games, E. Hernandez. Man, I'm seeing some long-standing names getting those gifted. Thank you again, Kratos, for doing that. Somebody help out my man Kratos, man. Keep the members going. Let's hit those things, dude. Let's have a community game night this Friday. I believe we can do it. My members help count. When I gift, that goes into the total, man. Make me gift a bunch. I don't think there's a right and a wrong way to do it, Solemn. I mean, obviously, I understand your preference. You're like, listen, man, I'd rather pay for content and have the content be substantive. I think what Jor Raptor is saying is it's a little bit easier to put out a roadmap and get good engagement if everything is free, and then you subsidize that free content with microtransactions. Like, imagine coming back and knowing that, like, Ragnarok was going to do, let's say they did something earlier this year, and then they did something like kind of a seasonal event, and then they did this DLC. And every time they had like cosmetics for you and the characters to buy to make yourself look different or to look cooler, because, you know, the transmog is available. I think you got to like spend or invest or whatever to do it. So to me, I think that would work just as well, as long as it's cosmetic or vanity only. It's not about right or wrong. It's about there'll be some people who do it well and in a tasteful way. Then all the bigger companies will push their luck and try to set a new standard, usually bad. Yeah, I don't agree with that take. I don't think that's what companies will do, because I feel like the relationship of microtransactions and consumer trust is a delicate balance. I think this year alone proved that you don't need Battle Pass or a live service. You don't need microtransactions. You can make an amazing single-player game and do incredibly well, both commercially and critically. So, you know, the bigger companies are, I think, seeing that there are other routes to successful monetization and microtransactions, and they don't need to go the scummy route. Especially if somebody's doing it right and somebody's doing it wrong, it'll be very clear who's going to survive and who won't, right? I don't think I should pay for DLC and then not be able to play it in 2 years when it's deleted from the game. I'm not sure what you're referring to. Krayos gifts another one and bumps the line to 35. Thank you so much, Krayos. Appreciate you, dude. So generous lately, dropping big member bombs on the chat. I'm fine with free if it's their choices, but I'm fine with paying. I'll take paying over free with open game on their interpretation of what is the microtransaction. And a 5 bomb from Krayos. Look at this guy rounding things out, takes it to 40 out of 50. He may be setting up his own 10-member bomb. Some of these guys are really flexing on chat lately. Don't let him have all the glory, chat. This guy's about to do it. I can feel it. Either that or he's trying to tempt somebody else to do it. The reason I think going free works so well, Solomon, is it's a really wide funnel. You get way more people to come back and check it out. You know? Oh, Destiny reference. Pay for DLC and then not be able to play it in 2 years when it's deleted from the game. Well, I think you're invoking a completely different subject matter, which is a game that lives on servers as well as your character and as well as all the experiences. So a live service ongoing game with servers is not quite the same as you buying a DLC or playing a DLC or doing a season pass in a game like, you know, Avatar has a season pass. God of War is not doing it, but like Spiderman might have paid for DLC. I don't feel like those are the same. I don't really feel like those are the same. Given the choice, I'd prefer a paid Burning Shores style content DLC than a free mode. I don't know if anybody would disagree with that, Shelly. Like, given the preference, would you rather have a free mode that's more contained or a substantive DLC that you can buy? I think a lot of people would probably buy. Krayos slams it home. He gave you guys a little bit of time there, and nobody took the bait, and he says, fine, I'll do it myself. And he slams home a 10 bomb to get to 50. Nobody took this guy's action, man. He set that up so nicely. Nobody took it, so he does it himself. Thank you, Krayos. I now owe you guys 10 members. Thank you very much. I'm pretty sure WoW is always all DLCs, but not the topic. I mean, I get where people are coming from. Like, you don't want to buy something and have it removed later, but I generally think that's not common in the vein that we're discussing. In the vein of single-player games, I just don't think that's common. You know, you'd have to find an example. Brian says, millions of more customers are arriving to the platform each month. Plenty of players can experience the Ragnarok new content. I won't touch it, as I'd prefer more actual story content. Apparently it's going to have some story in it, so look at Spider-Man and all those suits. Given live service planning, they may have decided to hold off a lot of those back and sell it on the side with free add-on releases, if it were another company, of course. I do believe it changes how the experience could be otherwise bad, had they not done it. I could also see when you dump on the player that many suits and you pour on that many microtransaction choices and customization options, Spider-Man would be well within their right to deliver some free DLC and free updates to the city and then sell some suits in a micro store. Now, I don't know if they'll do that. That's not really their style. But I think they earn that right when they give you that many customization options. Like, there's so many. Like, no two Spider-Man will ever look alike unless you do it on purpose. I mean, the odds of you looking exactly like somebody else, because there's so many suits, and then the suits themselves have color options. Dan Hickman says, I wouldn't be playing this if it was paid DLC, as I'm not keen on rogues, but seeing as it's free, I'll give it a go. It may be the turning point for me enjoying rogues. Man, I'm telling you, if God of War Ragnarok Valhalla can win people over to rogues, I really want you guys all to run, don't walk, to buying Returnal and playing Returnal. I really hope that's something that happens here. To be honest, Spider-Man 2 had too many suits and was a waste of dev time. Like, it was cool but not needed. Yeah, I mean, you saying it's a waste of dev time presumes you know what they could or could not have been doing, which I don't think you can do that. I don't think you have enough information to make that presumption. The art department at Insomniac, if they weren't building those suits, I mean, I don't know what they would have been doing that you think would have been a better use of their time. I mean, if they're, debugging or finding some of the errors and glitches, maybe, but that's typically not what the art department does. A lot of the times those art departments can crank out so much customization, and they can do it a whole lot faster than a lot of the other departments and as far as workflow goes. On the topic, do you think The Last of Us mode could be a testing ground for some sort of multiplayer or something for TLU 2 Remaster? I don't know, Butters. It could be one of those things where maybe in their experimentation with Cat with the VIP, welcome back, Cat. Maybe in their that's 33 months, Cat. Welcome back. That's a long time. Maybe as they were experimenting and trying to build out the Last of Us 2 factions, maybe that's how the Rogue mode was born. It could have been like an offshoot, and they're like, this could be its own thing, and now's the time they're deciding to bring it out. I don't know. It's interesting. Like, how did Ghost of Tsushima Legends come about? Like, how did that come about? I have no idea. Like, how do some of these things happen? I think sometimes it's just the developers dorking around and they come up with a cool idea and they just try it. Solemn says, when it comes to that, it's going to be a perception thing. It comes down to what do they consider too much value, or how to receiving just the bare minimum acceptable amount of value. I just think it was a desensitizing amount of skins. Oh, desensitizing. Sorry. I thought you were trying to say disincentivizing, and so it threw me off. I got to tell you, I think it's subjective, and I don't agree. My son loves it. He goes in, and he's always changing what he looks like. I was regularly changing what I looked like. I don't know. I think that level of freedom does a couple of things. There's a bunch of suits that I'll never look twice at because I don't like the way that they look. So you got to think, with that many suits, there's probably 10 to 15 that really appeal to me. And I generally bounce between those or switch to those or test out the different colors or whatever. And I think it's great. I think that level of customization is awesome. I think it's pushed by devs creating this very deep combat system and figuring out ways for players to do stuff in that combat system. I'd rather than develop DLC they sell because it's likely going to be higher quality, says Eugene. God of War DLC was made to sell the game. So you think they did this free DLC as a way to get the game to sell? I mean, I won't deny that. They get to have a great round of marketing of God of War in December around the holidays, So their game's kind of hitting headlines, hitting marketing pushes, hitting YouTube funnels, hitting the homepage of the PlayStation. Yeah, I mean, I'll go with that. My favorite Spider-Man outfit was Last Stand with a double-breasted leather jacket. Sad it wasn't in Spider-Man 2. Solemn says, I used all those skins as I played the game, constantly changing my suits in Spider-Man 2. I platinumed the game and played a lot, 100%ed it. I wish they could have done less suits, but love the ones that they did. Yeah, I don't have any reason to be like they should have done less suits, because again, there were so many I'll just never put on. I'm like, ugh. Like, you take one look at it and you're like, I don't want those, you know. That Miles suit was horrible. Oh, is that the one he wore at the end? I liked the one that he wore at the end. I thought it was dope. Everybody was hating on it. I thought it was sick. Likely a result of them having done the PC port and they're playing around with the engine or something. Maybe, Shelly. I think this resets the clock on the PC port. I think God of War Ragnarok comes to PC like holiday next year. Eugene says 25 million new PlayStation 5 consoles sold this year. Christmas time. It's 100% meant as a way to sell the game. Ratslord says, absolutely. Look, there's a separate team doing the suits. It has nothing to do with the other parts of the game. I doubt it affected the overall budget, as it is a way to add way more interest to it. Lego Fortnite's a lot of fun. You and Madam should play it. We've already been playing it. We love it. We've just now gotten to the point where we can get the better wood and marble from the caves, and we built the thing that can like crush the rocks. We haven't built a whole lot of we should probably build some stuff over top of our machinery so that when it rains we could still get work done. You know, when it starts to rain, we're like, yeah, I guess we can't do anything because you get cold, so you got to stay inside and you're standing there, and then the machines can't even work. So but yeah, we've been really enjoying it. This Friday night, Hilly and I will be playing Lego Fortnite. And if you guys unlock Community Game Night, y'all can play with us. Let me tell you how close you are, because currently I owe you 10 members. So there's 10 members that need to be added to the count. You're currently at 2162 with my member count. So every 100 members, I have to gift you 20. So that means you guys are actually quite a bit closer than that. So 20, you actually only need about 250 members, roughly. We've had bigger days than that in the past. So you guys could easily hit that before Friday, easily. We've had days where you've done that all in one day. Lately, we've been saying if you guys do about 100 a day, there's no doubt we can hit these big milestones. If we can get to 3,000 members, I'll do a Night of Frickmas on the 22nd. We'll have some drinks and laughs, and I'll sing carols. I don't like singing on stream, and so, yeah, that's a stretch goal. The DLC comes out in 32 minutes. We will be streaming it. We will be playing it. I have a separate stream that I'll set up with a new thumbnail and the new description and everything. This has been our morning talk show. So that's typically how we do things here. We set up one stream, and usually I send you to an update. Usually, like not an update, but like an upload. I'm sorry. We usually send you to an upload, and that upload is usually about something like yesterday. We had one. If you want to know my thoughts on what's going on with the day before, that upload is available and doing very, very well. Morning Lono, yo, what's good, Lyle? Will you, or have you already broke down the various trailers from the awards, like in no fire in particular order? I already did a stream called The Game Awards, The Good and the Bad, and I walked through what I thought were the standout moments, what I thought stole the show, so you can go check out that past broadcast. The opening 20 minutes or so is my monologue that I write out, so if you want to know my thoughts on the Game Awards, we did that on the Friday morning after the show, so that's on the channel right now. The more suits, the better chance everyone finds something that they like. If they have less options, some people would be saying they had all sucked. Right, like I'm with you, Anthony. Like, man, you give me as many options as you possibly want in Spider-Man 2, for sure. All about it. Don't forget the reviews after 5. We're going to start calling those limited time reviews instead of reviews after 5. And that's if we get codes and early access. I need about a 2-week period if we're going to do a limited time review. We might even be able to actually beat a game if I can get 2 weeks instead of just 6 days. So, because some of the days that you have early access to a game, you have to allot time for the the B-roll being put together, me writing and recording the script, and then my editor putting it together, my producer putting it together. So even if I get like 6 to 7 days of early access, I would say 2 of those days we can't even use. Those are gobbled up. It never happened. It was Mandela effect. Just accept it already. That's right. I heard Sean Murray's new game is the most viewed trailer of all the trailers. Very surprising. Not surprising to me at all. It's now the most popular video on the Hello Games YouTube channel. I tweeted about that a couple of days ago. I was like, this has surpassed the original No Man's Sky trailer that did so well for them. Like, that was the game that stole the show for me. I don't want to retread a talk show we've already done, but yeah, that game stole the show, 100%. Where do I go to download it? It should be in the store in 30 minutes. There'll be a patch in 30 minutes, and you'll be able to download the DLC from the store in 30 minutes as well. I agree, more suits the better. I think they optically could have gotten away with less if they wanted to, but I'm happy with the amount they did give us. But I do prefer more than less. I just don't always affect it. Yeah, I always think the more customization options you give the player, the better, because then you can really make the player, you can really make somebody look the way that you. I like watching my son play because he plays in his own way, man. He has just his own style of playing Spider-Man, and it's just chaos, and I love it. How much is this DLC? God of War Ragnarok Valhalla DLC is free. It costs nothing. So you'll be able to download it. It's an epilogue to the main story. They do encourage you. Santa Monica has encouraged people in their Discord, don't play this. Well, they're not saying don't. They're saying they're encouraging you to play it after you've beat the main game because it is an epilogue after the main game. So after what has happened in the main game. So there's going to be elements of like, you're going to kind of spoil the main game if you just jump in this afternoon. You'll be like, wait a minute, I didn't know that, or I didn't know this was going to happen, or whatever. So that's their recommendation in their Discord. You enjoyed that trailer more than Hellblade 2? Yes. Yeah. Light No Fire stole the show. That's now one of my most anticipated games because I trust Sean Murray and I trust Hello Games. I've been in their corner and I've defended them for years. Through thick and thin, through all the hate and ridicule, I've stood by that company and that game. And I've consistently talked about how they got a raw deal and the media really mistreated how that whole situation went down. And they have more than earned trust and confidence. So yes, 100%. I stand behind that company. I believe in what they're doing. I think they're brilliant. I think that Hello Games are probably in the realm of being visionary. I think they're probably one of the most visionary companies out there making games right now. In a time where everybody cries and complains about every game looking the same or feeling the same or all the genres being typical, all the people that moaned about Avatar Frontiers of Pandora being repetitive or just Far Cry, whatever. I don't think they're correct, but I believe Hello Games is the true visionary developer of our time. All of his lies, he didn't lie. If you go back and actually properly research it, everything he said came into the game. A lot of what he said was planned to be there at launch, and they lost it due to a flood in their studio, and so he couldn't go back to every interview he had ever done and be like, oh, hey, by the way, in that one interview where I said you'd be able to do this or that or whatever with your ships, and we lost that. There's a reason that in about a year's time, they basically created and added everything that was needed to make good on their promises. But, I believe we have a completely defunct games media. I don't believe they cover things well. I believe there's a total lack of journalistic integrity. I believe a lot of the platforms function as quasi-content creators, and I believe the way that those interviews were handled and the coverage of No Man's Sky was handled was atrocious. And much of it was because you shouldn't really have him out there doing some of those interviews. I believe that he probably did get a little too hyperbolic and a little bit too excited at times, but I don't think he was out there outright lying and deceiving like many people tried to claim. I believe so much of that's been overstated and misrepresented There were even review videos from guys that said, oh, they said you could do this and you can't. And it's like, well, no, you could do that in vanilla No Man's Sky, but people were stupid and didn't play the game enough. I will readily admit that No Man's Sky was bare bones and it was rough when it launched, but there were many people that claimed, oh, you can't do this. And it was like, no, you can. You just didn't play long enough. Like, there were lots of people that spoke out of turn about that game. So, a Get to Member from DK Bager. He is the agent of chaos, pushing us past 50 out of 50. As I said, I've been in their corner for a long time. So anybody that wants to start that oh, he's a liar and he lied, anybody that wants to start that line of thinking, you got a long way to go. Because I've watched the interviews, I've researched it, I played it vanilla, I combed over that game extensively, and they got such a raw deal from the gaming community and the gaming press. We don't deserve Hello Games and what they did with No Man's Sky and how much they've turned it around. With the way they were treated, if it wouldn't have, any other studio would have packed it up and went home and been like, forget all of you. And they stuck by their product, and they passionately updated it for free for years. And they did more than update and add to No Man's Sky. They basically built No Man's Sky 2 with inside No Man's Sky. It's not even the game they originally promoted. It's so much more than that. So, you want to talk about lies? There's plenty of games and game devs that have said lies, right? Yeah, the Jurassic Park meme was funny. We all got a wry chuckle out of that. It's still funny to this day. It was funny. So, everybody just went way too far. Like, I don't think people have the ability to talk in a way that's controlled and measured. Like, look at the response to the Game Awards. Instead of people just being like, oh, I think they could make some adjustments to the schedule and the timing. Instead of giving people roughly 30 to 45 seconds, give them like a minute and a half to 2 minutes. That's fair pushback. But people use terms like cowardice or claim that Keighley has no moral compass. Like, we don't have the ability to talk about things without presuming malice and creating this villainous story arc. Everything has a villainous story arc. Sean Murray is a lawyer. It's like, oh my gosh, like, calm down. It's like, Jeff Keighley is a coward. And it's just like, I just find it all it's just tiring. You know what I'm saying? I feel like a lot of people open up their mouths and don't really have anything to say, right? I feel like a lot of people forgot about Dre. That's what I think. I think people talk like they forgot about Dre. That's what I think. I think our games media is a lot of gibberish and a lot of nonsense. So, that's what I think. I don't think we deserve Hello Games and No Man's Sky or the Game Awards. I don't think we do. I think we get greatness and we spit on it because it's easy to farm clicks with just hyperbolic terminologies and charged words, you know? What a boomer line. A boomer line? Are you serious? Forgot about Dre as a boomer line? Get the frick out of here. You're crazy. Oh, imagine saying forgot about Dre is a boomer line. Jiminy Christmas. Lono pulling out the Dre Eminem reference. This is the last thing I thought I'd hear today. I don't know what brought that song across my path. I've heard it before, right? I love Eminem, but it crossed my path in a feed. Who was it? Oh, it was Chris Pratt doing the lyrics, right? And as I was listening to it, I was like, that's quite literally what's wrong with games media, dude. They forgot about Dre. Like, come on, dude. They talk and ultimately say nothing because they forgot about Dre. That song was from 2001. It's kind of boomer. Do you guys know what boomer's from? Do you know? How many baby boomers do you think know who Dre is or Eminem is? Like, be real. Be real. Boomer comes from baby boomer. How many boomers do you think know who Dre is? How many of them do you think listen to Eminem? You think they're like asking for the real Slim Shady to stand up, right? Get the heck out of here. "2001 is boomer?" No, it's not. No, it's not. I guess if you're not 10, you're a boomer. Yeah, like if you're not an infant or a baby, you're a boomer. What are you even talking about? I effing hollered, says Rojo. Boomer just means old now? That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of, dude. We found the ones who were cuddling in the Cabbage Patch. What? I heard someone referring to the 90s as the late 1900s the other day, and I just wanted to crawl up and die. Boomer is the effing 1950s. Right. Like, baby boomers are from the 1950s, and I talk about forgetting about Dre, and you're like, yeah, it's real boomer reference. Unbelievable. Of anything to be unintentionally ironic is if you're going to say forgetting about Dre is boomer, then you forgot about Dre. Like, total lack of self-awareness. To be like, this guy just referenced Eminem and forgetting about Dre. That's so boomer. Yeah, you just proved that you forgot about Dre. Freaking boomer. I can't believe this. Of all the things that an Eminem reference would devolve into is it being accused of being a boomer. I thought you were talking about the people in chat, Eugene. I was like, what the frick are you talking about? Oh, you savage cats. No, I was strapped with gats while he was cuddling a Cabbage Patch. No, yeah. I thought you said cuddling in the Cabbage Patch. Cuddling a Cabbage Patch. I was like, what do you mean cuddling in the Cabbage Patch? What are you talking about? They're like in the Cabbage Patch cuddling? Oh my gosh. Omar says, I hear it all the time and I'm significantly younger than Lono. Yeah, the boomer definition changed. That's what I'm talking about. Like, apparently now boomer is just if you reference anything that didn't happen yesterday, right? Y'all forgot about Elden Ring. Duh, it's you boomer. Elden Ring didn't come out this year, boomer. Like, Jiminy Christmas. Referencing Eminem is boomer. Unbelievable. You know? If it didn't happen today, bro, it's old news. Old news, bro. Oh. I just need to put Eminem back into circulation. I haven't listened to him in forever. I need to put him back in circulation, dude. I do. He brings the energy I need to deal with y'all. You know what I'm saying? He brings the energy I need to deal with y'all, dude. Because some of y'all forgot about Dre calling that a boomer. That's freaking ridiculous. I can't believe it. Oh. Thanks to Nico Lowell, everyone is now a boomer. The late 1900s were a time to be alive. Oh my gosh. It's terrible. It's terrible being above that merry-go-round of juvenility. It truly is terrible because you just look at it and you're like, you bunch of idiots. You bunch of dumb kids. Like, I'm 42 and I'm constantly like, get off my lawn. Like, just get off my lawn, bro. Get out of here. Referencing Eminem lyrics is boomer. Get off my lawn, bro. Youth is wasted on the young. It certainly is. It certainly is. All that energy and all that endurance and all that exuberance just wasted. Absolutely wasted on Neanderthals. That's exactly why I said it, Eugene. Nowadays, everybody want to talk like they got something to say, but nothing comes out when they move their lips. Just a bunch of gibberish. That's why I said our games media forgot about Dre, dude. They're talking like they forgot about Dre. It's just a bunch of gibberish. And somebody told me that's boomer, and I can't get over it. I really can't get over it. I can't, dude. My Discord's full of younger guys. I get hated on for bumping Nas daily. Oh my gosh. Lono yells at clouds. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, they call you a boomer, and it's like, you know what? Get off my lawn, dude. Get out of here. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. It really is. It's like they provoke it. They're like, oh, it's such a boomer reference. Yeah, is it? Get off my lawn, bro. Oh. Regular media. They all forgot about Dre, bro. Well, in 14 minutes, we're going to be checking out Valhalla, okay? God of War Ragnarok Valhalla goes live in 14 minutes. I'll have a brand new stream for you guys to go to. While we wait for this stream to come to a close and we go to the new stream, do me a favor and smash that like button. We need like 29 more likes. Let's set our sights on 400 likes. I'm going to gift the members that I owe you in the next stream. We're really close to 2,200 members. We're trying to get to 2,500. So with my gifteds, we'll be right on the doorstep of 2,200 members. So thank you so much for everybody making that possible. Small brag here, but I worked on one of Eminem's last albums. He got me one of my biggest paydays. We'll support him forever. No way, dude. That's amazing. That's amazing. It's an odd mentality since young people typically desire to be older. Well, I mean, I think that's part of like the zeitgeist of our time is that the young have they almost have a disdain for those ahead of them. There might be good reason for that. There might be good reason for that, but I think that's some of it, right? There's this derision and this mockery of, you know, you in your 20s and somebody in their 30s with like a job and a house. Like you think you make fun of that. You think that that's stupid, you know? The album gets better as you get older. Yeah, dude. Oh man. When he goes on that entire tangent about that, I was like, that's the energy I need, bro. This y'all gonna keep effing around with me and turn me back to the old me. Oh, that's a freaking that's good. That's good. That's a line right there, dude. He's letting them know. He's educating them. All these young bloods don't know, dude. It's such a good track. Anybody that knows the word floppy disk is a boomer? But that's ridiculous. I know the word floppy disk because I had them in like middle school. It doesn't make me a boomer. Jiminy Christmas. I was born in 81. I grew up with Star Wars and U2 and cartoons on Saturday morning and Nintendo. That's not a boomer. You know what I'm saying? It's ridiculous. I'm 25 and I know what a floppy disk is. That's right. He says with no cheese, no deals, and no G's. No wheels and no keys. No boats, no snowmobiles, and no skis. Mad at me because I can finally afford to provide my family with groceries. Dude, he takes that rhyme. He stretches that one far. That's excellent. That's excellent. I can't say the first part, but I can say the rest. Jeez. That's good. I love when you're listening to a spot like that and you're like, there's no way he'll get another rhyme out of it. Oh, he did. It's like there's no way. There's always one more coming. It's so good. I saw a clip of Eminem and he was like, he calls him in. He's like, how did you say this line? He's like, I don't even know what this line is. He calls him in. He's like, how did you even say this? Like, Eminem, of all people, is like, I don't understand how you said this. Impressive. U2 made an enemy out of me when they forced their album on every iPhone. Oh, I remember that. I remember because I worked at AT&T at the time, dude, and people were ticked. People were ticked. They didn't like it. Dot matrix printer. Oh my gosh, they're so loud. Have you ever gone to like a government building to get something, like a report or a file or whatever, and they're still using dot matrix printers and they print that thing off and it's like nobody in the office can talk while it's printing. It's like the whole office goes quiet. It's like me. It's just like going back and forth. And the whole office is just like, we gotta just wait. You're just like, hang on a minute. You know, can I put you on hold? Somebody's got to print something. It's so loud. I swear NF got his voice look. Yeah, NF sounds a little bit like him, but if you put him side by side and you really listen, it's very different. I think it's different. Sounds like an AR. Yeah. Yeah, I'm seeing the rumor. You know, he's claiming that he heard there's a secret release date for May 21st. His inside information has been consistently completely incorrect. He's misfired on so many things. I think he just says stuff because it's it'll get clicks. It'll get likes. You know. I have a ton of reasons. I have a ton of reasons to doubt that date. I really do. May 21st, really? Like, literally the month before the biggest marketing month in gaming, you're going to drop one of your biggest releases? That doesn't make any sense. So we've been waiting all this time for Hellblade 2, and you're going to drop it mere weeks before basically Summer Game Fest kicks off? That doesn't make any sense at all. That's, like, logically is defunct. You're going to take one of your biggest games. Now, I could see a game have a surprise drop early in the year like Towerborn, but not Hellblade 2. Hellblade 2, if Hellblade 2 or Avowed land in the first part of next year, I will be shocked because all you're doing is you're taking marketing power away from those games by not having them be center stage at Summer Game Fest and at the Xbox Summer Showcase. The Xbox Summer Showcase can be substantive by default if they just have extended gameplay of Avowed and extended gameplay of Hellblade 2. Taking that from the showcase makes no sense at all. That doesn't add up. Launching a game like Hellblade at late May is got to be one of the weirdest. That's one of the weirdest things I've seen said. I'm like, what? That's right before all of the big marketing kicks off for all of the companies. Makes no sense. I mean, if you look at what Xbox did first half of this year, what'd they do? They they shadow dropped Hi-Fi Rush. Yay, surprise, great game. And then they did Redfall. And then they let the second half of the year get their bigger titles, Starfield and Forza Motorsport. So, I don't see it. I don't see it. I disagree. Game Pass needs a pipeline of games coming. The sooner the better. But you have to think about the marketing. You have marketing to do. You have marketing power to do. We find out the developer direct. That is one thing I'm willing to concede, that maybe they don't have a release date for Hellblade because they're saving it. They're saving it for the developer direct. Like, they want the developer direct to be like a bomb drop. Like, hey, the year just started. Here's all your games. Here's all your release dates. Boom, 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 boom. They feel like that might have. I actually could be compelled that has more power at the developer direct than it does at the Game Awards. My only pushback on that is the Game Awards has better viewership. So why would you do that? Unless that's the pattern. You know, if that's the pattern and that's what they want to set up, is that every year the developer direct kicks the year off and gives you a great view of the year and the first half of the year, you know, maybe they want to set that trend now, you know. I could be compelled. I could be compelled that that's what they're doing. I think it's weird to have a title that's well known and is a flagship and to be like, yeah, we don't have a date yet. And to do that at one of the biggest stages. There's 2 big stages a year now. There's 2. One of them Summer Game Fest, and the other's the Game Awards. So, yeah. I've got my own concerns, and, you know, we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening. We will see what ends up happening. All right, I'm not going to push this stream live until we're able to get in and play, and then we'll set up redirect. So the tail end of this show is going to be us downloading the DLC and getting in and make sure it works, and then we'll go over. And we're fine on time. Which, we've got 3 minutes until we can actually download it. Give me 1 second. I'm going to run upstairs quickly and use the restroom. I'll be right back. Okay. Let us go to the PlayStation Store and keep our eyes peeled here. See if it pops up anywhere. Blue, blue, blue. It is officially noon. Let's click on Ragnarok. And view product. Huh? Anytime's fine. Not really. Let's just search for Valhalla. All right, let's try this first. Check for update. Update's just under 3 gig. Okay. So it's downloading the update now. All right. I wonder if I can get to it through the game. Like when the game gets this patch, am I going to be able to go into the game and click on something to then go to it in the store to download? And then I'll set up the new stream and redirect and give you guys a link. We are going to go to a new stream for this so that we have the talk show and the gameplay separated. And then I owe you, let me get the daily goal up here in the stream. I do owe you guys 10 members. I will do that in the new stream. It gives you guys as much time as possible to hit the goal. So if you guys want to scramble to hit 75, you can also continue pushing this in the next stream. We're going for about 100 members a day, and we could easily hit 2,500 this week and 3,000 members next week and unlock a community game night and a night of Frickmas if you want to make me sing carols and have drinks on the 22nd. And if you want to join Hilly and I this Friday night for some Fortnite Lego, it's going to be a blast, dude. My kiddos and I have enjoyed it. My wife and I have played it. Hilly and I are going to play it this Friday night. It's so much fun. Okay. You thought you had Ragnarok downloaded? Yeah, I checked it all last night, booted up, got into the game, did some of the... I did all 6 Crucible challenges that opens up the chest in the middle, and now I have like 6 more to do or whatever, but I just did those 6 just to kind of like warm up. I hope the memberships go to boomers. Oh, that's good. That's good. That's a good callback. Good callback. It's a good callback, dude. Shut the frick up. Okay. Installed. All right, let's just quickly check the game in the store just to see before loading up the full game. All right, let's just check the store one more time. Again, before loading up the game. And, you know, like I said, it might be something that we have to go into the game and click on. They made it sound like in their Discord, it would be something that you would download. All right, let's load up the game. Lono started this music battle with his Forgot About Dre. Look, man, I'm just trying to tell y'all that the game's media forgot about Dre. That's all. That's my diagnosis of the tomfoolery that goes on, the foolishness that goes on. Oh, there it is, Valhalla. Download. Okay, 15 gig download for Valhalla. Okay. Okay, that's not too long. Okay, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to wait, actually. I'm going to wait the smallest window of time that we can to set up the new stream. If you guys have just tuned in, we are going to check out the gameplay. It'll be a new stream in a moment. Do me a favor and smash the like button, hit subscribe. Those things help me out. You might even get a gifted membership to the channel. We do a daily talk show. We do gameplay. We do members-only content. We do a lot of content on this channel, so make sure you hop in. I'm a Safe for Work broadcaster, and I do a daily talk show Monday through Friday. Usually, I am in this scene having a conversation. And we're getting ready to check out Valhalla. So make sure you do all those things. It supports me. Those of you that like to gift members, today's a great day to do that. We got a lot of people here that are into Ragnarok. And we like to cover PlayStation games and PlayStation news. We also cover Xbox news and games and Nintendo. And we covered PC. We covered the day before extensively and pretty much predicted what that game was. So if you haven't seen that upload yesterday, be sure to check that one out. This thing's downloading pretty quickly here. Do. Okay, 79 seconds left. I'm very thankful for my fast internet. Very thankful. You remember how to play this game? I played last night to warm back up. I was doing the Crucible challenges, so I was glad I did. There was a few minutes where I was like, holy cow, I'm bad. I am bad. Can't start with you, Lono. I got to re-download the whole game. Yeah, I did that last night. Got the game downloaded, booted up, and I was like, well, what could I do to kind of get my chops back? And I went to the Crucible, and there were 6 challenges that I did. The one was really good. The one where you're not supposed to take damage was a little frustrating because I kept getting guys that would... I wouldn't get any kind of a warning, and I would just like get hit from the side or the back. So I had to really adjust and control where I stood, and then I got it done. I think it took me like 4 tries. Thank you again for tuning in. All right. Wait, what's it doing now? Why does it say 3 minutes left? I thought it just did that. Wait, that's the PS4 version. Following content is which... Okay, hang on. Let me schedule, and we'll jump into this. I'm scheduling the new stream, all right? I'm going to set up redirect. I'm going to provide you guys with a link, and we're going to go to the new stream before I jump into this. Okay, redirect is set up. Okay. I'm going to change the thumbnail on this broadcast because we're no longer going to be live. And then I'm going to spam a link in chat. You guys can use the link in chat to go to the new stream, or you can get redirected by YouTube. It should bring you with me. When we get over to the new stream, do me a favor and... Okay, we got the sound going. Do me a favor when we get over to the new stream and smash the like button when we get over there. Likes are extremely helpful when we do something like this, because we're going to a new stream. So there's going to be a ton of you in there. And YouTube's going to be like, yo, where them likes at, you know? And we're going to go over in 30 seconds. So get ready. Making sure all of the announcements go out. If you guys follow me on Twitter, or if you are in our Discord, you will get pings about the stuff that we do. Okay. I don't know why it's being so slow. Twitter being cray. Play already? Hang on a second. I'm working on it. Okay. Oh, I accidentally timed you out. Sorry. All right, use the link in chat. Let's get started. Thanks so much for clicking on this video. This is going to be us diving into gameplay of God of War Ragnarok Valhalla, the brand new free DLC. You boot up the game, click on Valhalla, and download it. That's how you get to it. There is a patch that you'll need to download before you do that, and then it'll download the roughly 8 gig update. So I'm just going to go with the normal Show Me Resolve. There are a bunch of different difficulty settings that you can use. And when you pick that, that is going to get you into the game. So those of you that are in the previous stream, click on the link to come over. I'm going to end that stream and redirect you to bring you over to the brand new stream, and we are going to dive